of the Smithies VFL after the state game weekend. I'm pleased our co-commentator bothered to wander back into the state too, by the way. More on that later. Nick Bryan going against Ryan Gardner in the ruck, and we'll have it thrown up again.
What an experience that was.
Yeah, you're over there for the state game, the Amy State game, which unfortunately won by the Sandful. The two rucks go at it again. Sardis wanting to come through. He'll take a free kick. Right in the middle of Marvel Stadium. Get the Bombers going. 0-2 to start off season 2023. Kick is good. Jaden Davies got it. He's at half forward. Long kick. Inside 50. Nice clunk. That's Nate Caddy who's got it. And he'll have the first shot at goal.
Absolutely amazing start from Essendon there. Just so clean by a foot, showing the dominance over the Doggies early. Doggies just need to get a little bit more on their man, don't they, Joe?
Absolutely. And how exciting to see Elijah Sardis, Jaden Davey, Nate Caddy, the three of them linking up.
Absolutely.
So good.
It's the kick now coming in. Chance at the first. Be a great start for the Bombers, but it is across the face through for our first behind of the afternoon here at Marvel. Start of a big round 3.
It really is. We'll get you to go around the grounds with some of the games that are on offer, Pete, very shortly. Caleb Daniel, who is back for the first time since 2017 in VFL colours, gets to Alex Keith with a short one. No one stands the mark, so Keith will take the grass in front of him, send it out to the wing, out of sight of Marvel Stadium. Be picked up by the Bombers, although that handball intercepted by Anthony Scott. Off to James Harms. The advantage is going to be paid from the free kick, so Lockie McNeil will get to Rory Lobb on half forward. It's a vacant 50 with Artie Jones tracking into the pocket. In front of him is Clark, and he takes the mark.
Pace there from the Doggies, Joe. Just absolutely on the rebound there, showing their pace just to get through to that 450.
So Charlie Clark, one of the fresher recruits to the Bulldogs. Did you know, Pete, he goes by the nickname Chook?
Chook.
Good name.
Work out throughout the broadcast why he's got the nickname Chook. But he has the chance to kick the first goal of the afternoon for the Bulldogs. Puts it on its way, sets it up to the top of the goal square. Big pack of plays, lobs down there, brought it to the front of the contest. Off a stack of hands, Jones was thrown over the line and rushed through for their first blemish of the day.
Well, it's a nice variation on Charlie, I guess. Inventive. That's what we're thinking of. There's Hayes, shorts. The Bombers will try and look to build. Will Hall will kick long. I should also mention the return today of Tex Wanganeen. It's been a long time since we've seen him in the Bombers colours. He gets an opportunity in the VFL side as Paris can go for a run, take another bounce. He'll need to release it now. The kick inside 50 is going to be cut off though. And a good mark. Luke Cleary taking the mark. Bulldogs are away.
Yeah, through Harms, it might be a downfield free kick, Tyrone. Not quite sure, was Harms pushed aside after that, or might be coming all the way back? No?
Yeah.
The umpire's going to bring them all
There's
the
a lot
way
of
back
whistles
there.
going off.
I was going to answer you, Joe. Just wanted to figure out what the umpires were going to do first. Decided to bring it back, though.
It's going to be Luke Cleary at centre half back. Now, again, the umpire is still talking. Oh, he's waiting for James Harms to run 100 metres to get a disposal here.
Interesting last night as well, Joe. The umpires forcing people to come back, forcing them to stand that mark and take their free.
Now, we had a point, Tyrone and Pete, where maybe it is becoming a bit like soccer. If it's a free kick like that, just the nearest player, just in terms of getting the game moving. He goes to Buslinger, who takes it wider still, and Jordan Croft out of side of the ground. Mark dropped it, opened the door for the Bombers, and it's sent forward off the boot of Matt Foley. Brilliant mark from Caddy, who's just outside 50. He'll go in short. It's a nice, well-weighted ball for his captain, Xavier O'Neill. And the skipper can go back. So what do we think, boys? A free kick like that, rather than losing 35 seconds for James Harms, just give it to Luke Cleary on that occasion.
Yeah, keep it moving.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of just keeping the pace high, Joe. Let the nearest player take it. Let's get the game going.
Nate Caddy had the opportunity there to blaze away. It was a wide open goal square. Took the short option. Always good to go to your skipper.
Yes, that'll help, especially at the quarter-time huddle. So Xavier O'Neill hasn't kicked a goal this year. The new skipper of the Bombers in 2024. Right to the goal line. In fact, it's got the carry. And the captain's on the board, as are the Bombers. We've gone 5 minutes. 1-1-7. The Dogs just the one behind.
And we spoke a little bit earlier, Joe, Xavier O'Neill coming across from West Coast last year straight into a captain's role at Essendon. It's an interesting transition, isn't it?
It's not one I would have had him earmarked for, particularly after watching a bit of the Bombers at the back half of last year, to have him as the skipper.
They were impressed, though, with his work during the pre-season, though. They talked about the fact that he had the leadership qualities and what he could bring from his experience at West Coast. Meant that it was a popular choice as captain. So back in the middle, early advantage to the Bombers in this curtain raiser, the Smithies VFL at Marvel Stadium. First of, I think a couple of games we're going to see throughout 2024 here. Haitley was going to take the footy away. This is advantage going to be paid. Short kick going inside. Here's Smart, who's a 23rd player, lost a handle on it. O'Neill's had a couple of goes at it. Springs back. Here's a chance. Another one. It's Paris who's kicked the goal. And they've got two on the board pretty quickly here, the Bombers.
Some really crafty work from Vicente there. Almost the soccer assist straight off the boot to Paris coming through. Some crafty work there from Essendon forward line.
Early contender for a Smithy snag this weekend, Pete, that one.
There'll be a few of those, I reckon.
Absolutely love those calls from you, Joe. They're my favourites, the Smithy snags one.
Well, just speaking of Smithies, and you mentioned the state game already, Pete. The report out of Adelaide was they were the last people on the plane, the committee of Smithies. They enjoyed their weekend that much that I think they might have just started to stumble home around Monday afternoon.
Yeah, but you weren't too far behind them, to be fair.
Well, I may have hung around and watched the Mighty Pies just hold on against the Hawks. Just hold on.
Get a 10.
Maybe. 6.5 minutes into the first quarter. The Bombers have kicked the first two. This is a good start for them. Bryant gets over the top of Lob, and Sardis with a spiral inside 50. Caddy, was smashed into. Pack of players, they came from all parts of the compass. Here's Haitley, bobs up, and they've got a third. In the blink of an eye, the Dons have kicked 3 in a row, and they've moved away to an 18-point lead to start this contest.
Absolutely all downhill. Relentless almost, Essendon. That big bump by Haitley setting up that play. Can't be stopped at the moment.
They talk about good recruits coming into the VFL side. Haitley's another one from Adelaide, coming across to play for the VFL Bombers. In as their vice captain this season.
So they've got 2 new people in and 2 new captains.
So we've got an issue with our clock at the moment. So we're about 6 minutes into the opening quarter, not 21. We don't want the game to be over that quickly. Rory Lobb's got into the ruck here, going to work with Nick Bryan. Bryan managed to pick it up, trying to work there. Sardis can't get away. The umpire should call a stop to things. Actually got some nice apparel there, Joey, from your trip over to Adelaide that didn't make its way. None of it made its way to me, even though I wasn't on the trip. Toma just lost a handle on it. Here's Lob in the middle of the grounds, and this is going to be chopped off. Mark taken by McKay, and he will go wider. And this into the path of Hunts. He's going to be under pressure near the boundary line. We'll have it tossed in.
It's a very good start from the Bombers, Tyrone. The first couple of rounds, they've started games really well. It's the back half of contest just to keep an eye on. They sort of have faded out in second halves.
Well, I guess today we'll just have to keep an eye on that, see if they repeat those sort of things or if they learn from their mistakes. But experienced side today, over 150 AFL games on the field today. It's going to be a good one.
Including Dylan Shield, who's back in the side, and as Pete mentioned a couple minutes ago, Tex Wanganeen, a young developing player, but his first game in season 2024. That one's locked up and going nowhere on the half-forward flank for the Western Bulldogs. So Bryan and Lobb will go at it. Spilled out far side of the ground with Harms. His handball towards Garcia was missed altogether, and over the line, a secondary stalemate. There's some nice Smithies shorts in the bag, Pete. A Smithies training top. Just couldn't get one of those big V jumpers, unfortunately.
Well, if there's a few of them left over at AFL House, just park them my way. Anyway.
No boots for you, Joe?
Had to bring your own.
We couldn't find a size. Anyway, the Ryan getting the tat down, and he second go at it. Just putting it up the line. Caddy just trying to create some space. Now bustling it coming through for the Bulldogs. Worked it out nicely. Cleary linking together the housemates. The kick across the ground. Here's Keith, who's got plenty of time even though he fumbled. Can assess, can go wider. And looking for Anthony Scott. who'll go back. They share the footy. Keith again, back to Scott, standing up. They'll go back to each other again because there's not a lot happening up ahead, and he's taken over the boundary line. And we'll have that one tossed in. Good pressure there by the Bombers as we've gone 10 minutes into this opening quarter here in the Smithies VFL. Round number 3, big round 3 coming up. Battle of the Tigers coming up tomorrow with Werribee taking on Richmond. Avalon Airport Oval. Ryan working with Lobb. Scott's wrapped up again. Queenstown taking on Southport. Big game for both of those teams, early stages of the season. The Shield. Quick kick inside 50. Oh, he's going to come straight back out again. Good pressure, but too high, said the umpire. And it'll be the 23rd player, Tristan Maple, who'll take the free kick for Footscray.
Got the free kick from the Bombers, 23rd player, Oscar Smart. So Maple sends it down the line, interchange side here at Marvel Stadium. Hately to his ruckman in Bryan, up and down the chimney goes that kick, but it's going to wobble to inside 50. Off hands, Wiedemann's lurking around it. He's strong in the tackle, locking up Joel Freyer. This one's not coming out. In fact, it does, as the umpire let it go, and Anthony Scott whacks it on his left boot. Lewis Hayes can sit underneath the high ball and mark all free kick. The umpire chooses the ladder. Solomon McKay got it to Hately and then got it back. The old 1-2. He moves to half forward and thumps it inside 50 in the caddy direction. The young man extends the jukes. He couldn't quite reel it in. Had a real go at it though, did Nate. This one locked up.
Been very active early, hasn't he, Joe? Nate Caddy, someone who you seem to be very fond of.
Well, I watched him in round 1 against the Brisbane Lions, and very much like I said before, they started the game with the pressure up, and he had a couple of early disposals and just faded out of the game late. It was his first crack at it. It's buzzing up. It's the kick out to space. Garcia was really good to McNeil. The kick was smothered by Luau. It opens the door for Foley to give it to Shield and back to Luau. They're working backwards to go forwards here, the Bombers. There's been a whistle. Advantage is going to be paid from Lewis Hayes. He wants to come into the centre circles. And Jackson Hately takes the mark.
Yeah, can set up again the Bombers, although very congested. No player behind him as he kicks inside 50. Need the big bodies, and that's the wrong side. Rory Lobb, who's playing everywhere at the moment. He's racked up the goals in the Smithies VFL early this season. Finds James Harms. He kicks longer to a 2-on-1. The one ended up winning out. McNeil wants to keep going. They've got numbers deep inside 50, and here's another goal coming up. It's Clark. He'll get the first for the Doggies for the afternoon. And they just moved it quickly, but it was Rory Lobb getting things going down back.
Dream to dare did the Footscray. They finally put a little bit of dare into their action. Big kick by James Harms in the middle. Normally a big gamble that coaches might frown upon, but when it works out, it works out. So look for these Doggies midfielders to slowly work their way back in. But Rory Lobb working his way back, playing ruck, key forward, full back. He's doing a little bit of everything at the moment.
Well, the last couple of weeks, he's been prolific in terms of what he's been able to do. 4 goals in round 1, 5 goals in round 2 to start off the season at Smithies VFL level.
He's mounting a case, and Luke Beveridge is just watching on, only about 30 or 40 metres away from us.
Oh, any other team, I reckon he'd have a pretty solid case.
He's going to do the ruck work as we go back into the centre square. The Chook Clark has done the scoring for the Bulldogs, 1-1-7 to 3-1-19. Vicentini won it down. Orgel was thrown into the ground, the 250s. Jackson Hately just outside the centre circles. So the umpire will ask for a restart of play. Vicentini won it down again. The Dogs get the clearance. It favours the man in front, which is the Chook Clark. He'll go on the left foot inside 50. It's a 2-on-1. Ball hits the deck. And it's Archie Roberts to Dylan Shield, to Paris. He might give it back to Shield, who's riding shotgun. Drew the man, did that really well, the Bombers. Foley thumps it inside 50 in the direction of Wiedemann. Oh, too big, too strong, too tall, too good.
That was a tsunami wave from the Essendon midfield, Joe. As I was saying earlier, just running in waves, numbers, going forward by any means, but still coming back to set up their defence. It's proven to be the difference at the moment.
So early going, just keep your eye, Tyrone, on Bailey Scott, who's just come from the ground right beneath us in the hands of the physio at the moment. Maybe an ankle problem. We're on board with Sam Wiedemann. Looking at goal number 4, he's shanked it right. No good at all from Sammy, and a minus score. 3-2-20 to 1-1-7. We've gone 14 and a half minutes in this first term.
2 goals last week for Sammy Wiedemann as Caleb Daniel kicking in. finds Jordan Croft. New recruits to the Bulldogs. Pick up the line, it's going to be turned over. Sardis had the best opportunity there, has to go back in and get it. Now lost a handle on it. Can the Bulldogs get something going from here? It'll be Croft again, who goes a little bit wider, making good use of Gardner as the link player. Now a long ball into the path of Spicer, who's on 50, got players lining up, finds the best option, absolutely. Had all the time in the world and just had to. And I think that's Sam Willoughby who's got it. And will line up for his first opportunity.
Oh, that exemplifies modern football, doesn't it, Joe? Just pace and space everywhere. Phoenix Spicer, the ex-North Melbourne player, had a few AFL games for them. Plenty of time there just to set up the forward here.
I liked the composure too of Phoenix Spicer, Pete. He could have blazed away, but decided to check the ball, go to the centre of the corridor, and here we are.
Had plenty of time to assess as well. Inside the 50, this is going to the line, and it's through. Willoughby with his first. Footscray fighting back midway through this opening quarter, round 3 of the Smithies VFL at Marvel Stadium.
And you're right, Joe. You know, previously Phoenix as a young player, he might have blazed away there or tried to use his jets to get around, but showing a little bit more experience and age there, just to steady himself, find the forward. It makes everyone happy. It makes the coaches happy. It makes your forwards happy. It makes me happy.
It does. Makes us all happy. And if you are tuning in on VFL.com.au, the clock is not 31 minutes into the first term. We've gone 16 and a half minutes. Hopefully we'll have that little technical glitch, Pete, resolved at quarter time. Little gremlin in the system, as an old colleague of ours used to say when we came to
gremlin
technical issues. Little gremlin's just getting into the system. So we're back into the centre square. The Dogs have kicked the last 2 after the Bombers kicked the first 3. Gardner doing the ruck work. It's Orgel extracting the Sharon, but stolen by the ruckman Brian. O'Neill was run into, smashed into, but it was a touch overzealous in the tackle, the latest goal kicker Willoughby. And Xavier O'Neill's going to get the free kick. Go short to Shield. He could go short. The kick's been intercepted slightly by Orgel, but Haitley was composed and Peris ends up on the end of it. And the son of Nova, who's come across from St Kilda and Sandringham, has the chance to give the Bombers his 4th, although Haitley runs past for the handball from on the paint of 50. He sinks the slipper into it, and the rest is history. Jackson Haitley from downtown kicks his 2nd. He's had a strong start to this game, Tyrone Winder.
Oh, the vice-captain coming across and making his presence felt here. Hitting the 45 there for Peris, amazing work. It's really shown the difference, just hitting those 45s and then going to get the ball back. Peris says, hey, you hit me up, I'll hit you back.
Sardis and Shield with 5 disposals each to start things off in this opening quarter. Inside 50 count, 8-5 in favour of the Bombers. The attacking that they're doing, they've got control of this one.
6 scoring shots, Pete, from those 8 inside 50s too. So they're getting reward for getting in there.
So Brian working with Gardner again. Brian getting the tap down to follow up his own work, but the ball spilling free, and that's tunnelling. No call from the umpire. Boy, I thought Monty had an opportunity to plead his case there. But clearly the umpire putting the whistle away. Anyway, continues on. Willoughby's got it on centre wing and out of side. Very congested up ahead, so just kicks to the pack. Scott slipping the handball out, getting the opportunity again. That's a great kick. And Clark's got it again. Chook a chance at his 2nd.
Is there such thing as a commentator's blessing, Joe? Because ever since we've talked about his nickname, he's come up everywhere, hasn't he?
Usually doesn't work that way.
No.
We usually don't get the thanks, Tyrone, to be honest. A chance here just to get the immediate response as we're heading to time on in this opening quarter. Do not adjust your sets. The clock's wrong. Oh, no. He's gone to the left.
Well, there might be a curse on him, Tyrone.
I was about to say the commentator's curse comes again. You can't get away from it, can you?
He's kicked 1 goal, 2 now as the Chook. 2-2-14, Footscray. 4-2-26, the Bombers, as Lewis Hayes brings the footy back in. I know it's been a long time since Matty Lloyd played, but it still mystifies me that a number 18 for Essendon is in defence But Lewis Hayes is doing some terrific work, making his way in the Bombers' back six of this VFL team. Here's Sardis. He wants to cut back inboard. It's a wobbly, scrabby kick to the wing. And it's Fraser slapping it inside 50. And there he is, right on cue. The number 18, Lewis Hayes. 7 marks last week. He's taken a couple already tonight. He goes to Luau. Short one across the face of goal. And Dylan Shield in the opposing back pocket. Time for think music for Dylan. Picks out one of my favourites, Pete. Tom Thomas, who's got it just outside 50.
There you go. You're big on the names in the State of Play podcast.
Oh, it's a good podcast, that one.
It is a great podcast, as Foley will take a free kick here.
Have you subscribed, Pete?
I just listen to it. Don't need to subscribe to it, downloads. I just sort of, it appears there and away I go. It's nice to see you're offering a little bit more than just hello and goodbye like you were last year. Helping Gemma out a touch. Be
yes,
good.
Helpful.
Here's Bustlinger to Keith. Bulldogs going inside 50. Now, who's first to it? It's Clark. Worried off it. Luau did a good job as they work it around. Gray, try and find some space. Hard and tough at the moment. Bustlinger again. Again sends it just inside 50. This time finds a target and Jones takes a great mark.
Just before you go, Tyrone, Clark is part of that contest before, as Pete called his name. He landed awkwardly. I'm not sure whether it's an ankle or a knee. He's going to try and either shrug the physio off or go off the ground the far side. So just keep an eye on him. He's in a bit of trouble at the moment.
Yeah, just a bit of limp on that right foot there. Hopefully Artie Jones here, the Mount Barker boy, can soak up a bit of time, give him a bit more chance to recover.
So Jones looks pretty good. Yeah, he's got it. So Jones with his first for today. And that margin back to an even goal into time on. 21, almost 22 minutes gone in this opening term. The Smithies VFL on afl.com.au and via the AFL Live app.
Clark choosing to stay out there for the moment. Tyrone, talk to me about Artie Jones, because he's burst onto the scene. Bulldogs fans love this young man, and obviously when he kicks a goal, it gives him a world of confidence, and you see him come out of his shell even more than he already does.
Oh, Artie Jones is just one of those kids who his personality makes up for whatever he lacks in AFL games at the moment. People just love to have him around the club, and AFL players love to see him in the side, and they support him. Obviously the nephew of Andrew Cracker, ex-Collingwood player.
So we go back into the centre square. Good pedigree if you're coming from the Cracker family. Here he is, right on cue, smashed into by McKay. The Bulldogs win the footy with Willoughby. Going back with the flight is Polto. He's ended up reeling it in. He nearly smashed into Lockie McNeil, but he kept his eye on the Sherrin, the former Magpie. And now he has the chance, incredibly, to kick the goal and level up the scores after that burst of 3 goals in a couple of minutes from the Bombers. They are looking at 4 of the last 5 goals.
It's a really good story, isn't he, Caleb Polter? Had to go back to go
correct.
forwards in his career.
Picked up middle of last year after plying his trade early on the season with the Dogs. Here he is, missing this one, unfortunately. And a minus score, so 3-3-21 for Footscray. Essendon fought 2-26. We've gone 23 and a half minutes in this first term with the Bombers holding a 5-point lead.
So here's Luau. Oh, his kicks. Oh, yeah, it was just going to go over the head there of Roberts. And now the Bombers are in trouble. And that's going to be a high tackle. It's Craig Peters who's got it. That's just his surname, folks. Kick across the ground. Just felt I need to clarify that. Here's Perez trying to get through the traffic. Just got the handball out. Monty's the link player. And they're still running out of room. Toma works it across to Foley. Again, the skills just not quite there. Just not hitting the targets. And O'Neill forced to see this ball over.
The Doggies are really just starting to bring the squeeze, aren't they? They've started to outnumber Essendon in a contest. Interestingly, Essendon started off hot, but the Doggies are leading the inside 50 count at the moment, 10-8. So they've turned it around here.
So as we head towards quarter time, 24 minutes gone in the opening term. Gardner gets the tap down this time. Polter flicks it back to Daniel. Back to Polter. And they just work it around. Keith looking to go forwards. Comes off hands. There's going to be a high tackle. Which way is this going? Footscray Coming straight back to James Harms, who's calling for the ball, screaming for it. We'll go with Poulter, who's driving by. On the left, inside 50, Lobb. What a delivery. What a delivery. And Rory Lobb, who basically owns this oval at the moment, he spent so much time and covered so much ground, chance at his first.
Can't really say much else except what a delivery by Caleb Poulter. Beam and left foot. And like you said, Rory Lobb going to see some fruits of his labour here.
Round he goes, and he's going to go narrow. So 3-4, plays 4-2. 25 minutes gone, the opening quarter.
So nearing quarter time. The Bombers bring the footy back in. Lewis Hayes gets it in his defensive back pocket. Picks out Tom Thomer. Wants to run and gun. Has a bounce and goes to Foley. So they switch across the ground to the broadcast side of Marvel Stadium. Will Hoare in short. It's about giving it to Tomer, and maybe he should have because his kick's been turned over. Lobb got it to Poulter. Phoenix Spicer showing a clean pair of heels as he goes inside 50. Brilliant from Lewis Hayes. He closed the space and the double fist gets to the safety of the boundary line, and it allows the Essendon defence to set up. It also allows the Bulldogs midfields and forwards to now try and craft a goal from a stoppage in the forward pocket. Thrown back in. Lobb and Bryan. And it's Sardis winning it. Now to Haitley. He'll go over Caddy's head. He'll go back with a flight with Keith. Brilliant from Buslinger, who takes the mark right at the interchange gates.
Yeah, he to make up a lot of ground. Just almost got caught in the turf there as he was taking it low down. As he'll go deep inside 50. Plenty of Bombers though at the fall of this one, standing in front of Rory Lobb. Foley's held up, chopping of the arms.
Matt Foley's had an interesting journey to the VFL. Came through the James Hird Academy in 2019. Had to work his way through the Coates League and finally gets his chance for Essendon's VFL.
Here is Jared Eckersley from the Gold Coast Suns. I think was their only VFL listed player last season. Gets an opportunity with the Bombers VFL. Caddy trying to bullock his way through. Wiedemann, he had his handballs taken away. Cleary as they work it in. Long ball, high ball. This is going to bounce through. It does. Well done, Cooper Craig Peters. It had the friendly roll. And that's put Footscray in front as we approach quarter time. 27 and a half minutes gone.
Cooper Craig Peters has another interesting story as well, Joe. Designed the Doggies Indigenous jersey back when he was 16 years old and was going through their NGA academy. It was always a dream of his to put on the blue, red and white, and here he is, kicking a goal in the VFL.
What about this for Cooper Craig Peters? Not only has he got a cracking name, and what you just said, Tyrone, 2 sisters, 3 younger brothers, and then have a listen to this for family pets, Pete. 3 dogs, 3 cats, a sheep, an alpaca, and some cows.
Isn't that a song?
Not enough sheep.
Is that a song, is it?
I don't know.
Well, it's what Cooper Craig Peters has in the backyard.
And an old rocking chair.
And right. So he's kicked a goal, and now we're back in the centre square. That's a stacked house if you're Cooper Craig Peters and the family. The ball's been intercepted. And at centre half back, Riley Garcia. He's got Buslinger running by. And Jed takes some grass in front of him. Goes inside 50. Hayes presents. Brought it down to Bryan. He pulled himself into a roving role. And ends up back with Hayes. So the half forward, Wiedemann presents. Did he have the arms chopped? The umpire said he did. So Caddy's going to start screaming for it as soon as Sam gets the Sharon. He'll go shorter to Dylan Shield. Caddy's still in a one-on-one. In the end, he wheels around and gets into the pocket. Smart got whacked in the face. He might be okay, the small forward of the Bombers.
He did cop one there.
Late, eh?
Right in the chops.
Gee.
Right on the
Earn
chin.
your kicks up.
And so Oscar Smart, who made his VFL debut in round 1. A nice little battle going on that day with James Tunstall and a couple of other Brisbane Lions.
Oscar with a K.
And Smart with a double T. This will take a great effort. And that's what he does. Skills on show from the young man. A little bit of chin music to Oscar right on quarter time. 5-2-32. They take back the lead. Footscray for 28.
Essendon's usage through the 45s. Their short kick has just been absolutely outstanding here, and it's what's holding on to this lead. Despite having less inside 50s, their usage has just been really clean, so something to look forward to if you're an Essendon supporter.
Yeah, the Bendigo Pioneer getting it done. There's the ball back in the middle. Shamus Durden, the umpire, working alongside Luke Porter and Sam Herford today. As we head towards quarter time, 30 minutes gone. We'll get our clock fixed at quarter time. And they'll get the clearance here. Craig Peters had his kick smothered. Great tackling pressure from the Bombers, although it was a little bit high. So it will be a Bulldogs free kick. They are able to get away. There's this kick going wide to the line on one. You can hear the Bombers players appreciating the effort of Bailey Scott on that occasion. Got the fist in. Don't want to concede another goal here, Essendon. Take that 4-point lead into quarter time. So wait for this boundary umpire. Just taking a little bit of extra time to get this right. A bit shallow. Lob's going to get free possession here. Just tapped down. And it's in Bomber hands as it heads up towards half forward. Caddy trying to battle for it. We'll have to go for it again. They've got the numbers though. Maple among the players involved. It'll fall Freya. So the top, Craig Peters putting up the high kick, but it's been intercepted. The Bombers are away.
Yeah, from Sardis, who picks out Caddy. Chest mark at half forward. Wheels and goes in the Wiedemann direction. Smart's at the front. Keith went towards the boundary line. Still in play. Here is Oscar Smart. He went backwards and then shoved over the line in the end is Jared Eckersley. About 40 out from the Bombers' goal. Just wanted to keep an eye on Tyrone. The young man in the number 83. He's got great forward now, so knows where to be for a small forward. He's already kicked that goal, so his confidence is up. Inside 50 for the Bombers, nearing quarter time. Brian will go at it with Lob. Brilliant pick up from Shield. Davey, was he thrown into the turf? The umpire said no. Craig Peters on hands and knees, shovels the handball backwards. Put his teammate into a world of trouble. And the umpire will call for it again in the forward pocket. He'll be thrown up again. A few numbers around this footy. Lob went boundary side. Harms went after the Sheriff. Craig Peters, in the end, was taken high, but it won't matter because that was the siren to end a pretty entertaining opening quarter of footy. 5-2-32 the Bombers, 4-4-28. Footscray, Jackson Haitley has kicked, along with Tyrone Winder, and the next voice you'll hear is the great Pete McCutter to get us underway.
Yeah, away we go in quarter number 2 here at Marvel Stadium. Gardner getting the tap down. Harms is there, working the middle of the ground, but Shield intercepts, and now they can go forward, the Bombers. Brian with a long ball. It's going to carry the pack. They've got some space down here. Bizantini right near the line, but just leaves it for his teammate Davey, twisting and turning. Delivery exit. He's going to get it back again. Oh, he just couldn't finish it off. The Bulldogs were alert to what was going on, and two of them running straight at the footy, and they get the rush behind. They know the excitement that Davey can put on. The first and second effort there almost made it through. There's Daniel, Shaw, Freya, across the ground, Maple, playing as the 23rd player today. Garcia on the end of this, and they're able to advance. Here's Cleary. He goes with a long one up towards half forward. Kick is good. Gardner's got it. Lob wrestling in the goal square. This kick not going to find its initial target, but Spicer coming out to meet it at speed. He finds Daniel. Time to run onto it and space to make the right decision and find Lob. It's a slips catch, but it's a good one. He had to take it down low, and Rory chance at his first of the afternoon.
5 disposals so far for Rory Lobb, and the one behind looking to finally get himself on the scoreboard today. He's put in some great work.
So chance there. Just keep his good goal tally in the Smithies VFL. Keep it ticking over. Oof. Maybe not on that occasion though. So the Bombers with the advantage here, early stages of this second quarter.
Didn't like that at all, did Rory Lobb. Radar just not quite working so far on this Friday afternoon. Sardis was the intended target from the luau kick, and he'll get the free kick. I like this from the Bombers. Straight up the corridor. It's called to play on now, and he takes it wide to Hayes. As we mentioned a couple of times in the first quarter, showing maturity beyond his years is young Lewis. That kick almost biting off more than he can chew, and it works out for Luau. Goes across the ground to the opposite half-back flank and gets to Will Hoare. So the Dogs have done well to slow the Bombers up here. Hoare's kick towards Shield, who's earned the free kick after Orgel chopped the arms. So this is Dylan Shield's first game for 2024. Sends it to half forward in the direction of Wiedemann. Took the leap, the mark, gets to Haitley, who ends up running into goal and putting it through. He's got 3 as Jackson Haitley. Good start to the game for him, the vice-captain of the Bombers, and they move out to a 10-point advantage. Tyrone, 3 minutes into this second term.
He almost looked like he couldn't believe how much space he had in front of him. He turned around, he said, "Oh, there's no one here. I'm just going to waltz in and kick a snag." Great effort from the vice-captain so far. 3 goals so far.
The Smithy snag.
The Smithy snag, that's it.
We have a blood rule coming up here. Orgel.
Great time to rattle off some names. Dylan Shield leading all disposal getters so far with 12. Elijah Sardis following behind with 10. Riley Garcia leading Footscray with 8. It's an exciting kid, Riley Garcia. 41 disposals in round 1, 31 in round 2. How much do you reckon he has to do to get the call up, Joe?
Well, it's a tough midfield to break into. It's probably the toughest when you've got Bontempelli, Treloar. You've got McRae running through there. Well, they have combined last week 120 disposals, the 3 of them, Pete.
So you've got to be knocking down the door, though.
You might need 60.
Sardis, I dare you to go out there and tell him that as the kick heading across the grounds.
I'll
and
pass
Keith
it on.
meets it at speed. Running off half-back for the Bulldogs. Here's Clark. Back to Poulter. And going up the line, it's a good kick. Harms has got it. He's too far out to score. And he's looking to get some metres inside 50. Clark again. High ball. 2-on-1 in favour of the Bombers. They end up spoiling each other in the end. Free kick off the footy, and it will be a Bombers free kick. It will be going all the way back to McKay. Across the grounds, Hayes. And shares it with Sardis. He just slightly slipped over there as he wanted to release the kick, and that was problematic because Garcia's chopped it off. So turnover here. Bulldogs a chance to reset and reload. Looking for Lobb, coming from 3 deep. And running into a little bit of trouble there is Ethan Hunt's going absolutely nowhere. The umpire will toss the footy up.
Been impressed with Elijah Sardis early on. Tyrone might get you to give me his numbers in a couple of moments. One thing I have noted is he keeps trying to look for Nate Caddy. Every opportunity he gets. Brian wins it down. Here is Jackson Haitley. At the bottom of that, in fact, it's Will Hoare.
Well, Sardis now, Joe, tied with Dylan Shield for most disposals on the ground at 12.
So Rory Lobb just shoved Brian aside. Haitley locks up the Bulldogs' ruckman. He's lurking around this contest. He was the Bombers' prize recruit of a couple of years ago. Brian wins it down. Haitley. He uses Archie Roberts for support. The kick's just going to pitch inside the field of play. Now, was the intent there to keep it in? The umpire giving him the benefit of the doubt. So we'll have this one thrown in at the junction where the 50 meets the boundary. It'll be Brian to go up again against Gardner. 10-point lead to the Bombers. They held a 4-point lead at quarter time. If you've just joined us, Jackson Haitley's kicked 3 goals. All from the midfield. Down to the front of the contest. Here's Sardis. Went through his legs. James Harms stole it up and got it to Clark, who broke a couple of tackles. His handball, though, is going to be intercepted. And the Bombers can clear. Wiedemann, it was fisted away from him. Here's Caleb Daniel. It ends up with Cleary out to Poulter on the outer side of the ground.
They can get some run going on that outer side. Spice is going to get in on the end of this. And now this next kick, interesting, because the Bombers have got their numbers back. It's a shorter option. It wasn't the best of option, but Daniel, it'll work out. Works it with Bianco, the ex-Pie, kicking inside 50 towards Lob. Again, that's that tall target. Good tackling pressure by the Bombers. Not able to clear the area is Gardner. Now they get a release and a chance at a goal. And it's Garcia who's got it. He may not get 60 disposal, but at least he's got a goal today.
Oh, it feels like 60 disposals some weeks. He's absolutely everywhere. He's heating up like a microwave right now. Shouldn't be too far behind those leading disposal guys. An exciting prospect.
There wasn't a lot of room in that forward 50, and at the same time, Will Horde hit the deck. So there was a little bit of a distraction from the Bombers' defence, but right spot, right place for Riley Garcia, who, as you said, Tyrone, has started this year in a blaze of glory.
Well, people forget that he had a few injury concerns coming into his draft year. He was really highly touted through that 17s sort of era, and then the injuries came along. Ended up going pick 62 to the Doggies, so really late. But starting to show now why he was so highly touted amongst recruiters is Riley Garcia.
He's standing in the centre square, which I absolutely love. Pete's had enough of my bugbear of kick a goal and they come from the ground. When the adrenaline is pumping, the rush of blood to the head.
Had more than enough of it, by the way, Tyrone.
You keep the players on the ground.
He's going with it still.
As we have a restart of play, although the umpire stops and props and said there was no real intent from you, Elijah, to get rid of the ball. So James Harms will take the free kick and thump the Dogs inside 50. Jones, lob, McKay brought it to ground. He'll go after it again. Although the pocket's been picked and Willoughby found a way through where there wasn't really much to do. And misses along the ground with a dribbler. Minus score.
And Peter, we talked about how Essendon, they slowly start to fade out. Is that what we're starting to see here?
Well, it looks like the Bulldogs are getting on top. It's Hayes. To a bright start. Just keep that momentum going. Caddy in the front position. Had to follow through and did a really good job too. Slick handball. Luau. Just needs to find the short option. Paris. They go over the top. And again, so that no-look handball style. Eckersley in a bit of trouble and they've turned it over. Croft is there. Works it across. Garcia on track for 60 according to Joey. Ball off hand. Spicer just needs to pick it up cleanly. At centre half forward. His kick goes wide. Finds Poulter.
How good was that kick?
Just something to look at as well, guys. Nate Caddy coming off the ground here. Seems to be a bit winded. Might have been hit after the play.
Pete, that's the second time in this opening half where Phoenix Spicer...
Oh, is this kick being turned over?
I
think it has.
Right
something going off the ball. It's Smart. Looks to be the player. He's going to be the recipient of the free kick. So, the turnover is on. Poulter won't get the shot at goal. So, McKay across there to O'Neill. McKay again pushed over, should get 50. That was silly.
Yeah, the Doggies just losing their composure a bit here. Caddy was hit on the close side and two more silly situations after that.
Well, let's see what they can do here, the Bombers, with the opportunity. That 50 taken very slowly. So it means a lot of numbers inside the Bombers 50. That should be in the back. Umpire says it will be. And Luau, I think quite rightly saying, right, let's just wheel this ball back.
Yeah, that's 90 seconds that Stuart Edge and the Dogs will not be happy with, Tyrone. They had a shot at goal coming from Caleb Poulter. 3 free kicks, including a 50-metre penalty. Now has the Bombers having a shot at goal and putting that margin back out to beyond... well, that'll make it 9 points.
Well, it's almost head-scratching. That's all. I'm almost curious if something was said or has no idea what was going on there.
Meanwhile, Eckersley kicks the goal, makes them pay. His first of the afternoon. And the Bombers, well, they get the opportunity to go forward. They haven't had too many across the first 11 minutes, and they made the most of it.
And I was about to say, Pete, before the indiscretions, Phoenix Spicer twice in this opening half has used his shoe to absolute brilliance. Those kicks have been absolutely pinpoint. And if I suppose there might be some criticism over Phoenix Spicer, it's that we don't see enough of that happen in games. You and I have watched him the last couple of years with North Melbourne.
Yep.
And that might have been one of the areas that the Kangaroos thought, we're not getting enough out of you, Phoenix. So he gets his opportunity at Footscray, and hopefully, as this year evolves, Pete, we get to see him do a little bit more of that stuff because it is magnificent to watch when it's on full display. As we go back into the centre square, we might have that bounce redone.
And to be able to do it consistently too,
Yep.
Joe, that's the key.
Absolutely. I'm sure he's hoping that there might be a mid-season spot for him available. Into the centre square, here's Haitley giving it to his captain Xavier O'Neill. There's space in front of him as he charges towards goal. He went into the pocket for Wiedemann and Buslinger fisted it over the line. He was part of the 50-man squad for the state team, Phoenix Spicer. Unfortunately wasn't part of the final 23 that ran out there last weekend. Trent Bianco, the only player out there tonight that was from either of these two sides. Haven't seen much of Trent so far tonight as we're throwing this one back in the forward pocket. Lob won it down. Here's Sardis to try and get it to Paris. Came back towards Sardis. Here is Bianco. Back to Daniel. Stops and props. Thumps it outside his defensive 50 and a wonderful mark by Chuck Clark in front of the faithful on the half-back flank. Who's the next link in the chain for the Dogs? He wants to keep it down the line out of sight of Marvel Stadium. Orgel didn't take it. But the Dogs do well to win the footy on the wing on the Toyota Lugo, Pete, and it's with Sam Willoughby.
He's got it. Wants to go quick. Has to go wide. Doesn't quite find the target. Spicer was at the back. Bedendo at the front. And in the end, it lobbed in between them. And not Rory lobbed. The ball lobbed. And we'll have the ball tossed in.
Jackson Haitley now just up to 10 touches and 3 goals as well. A few centre bounce attendances for him.
So this ball thrown in on that outer side. It's the Bombers with the advantage. Going to get their first win of season 2024. Orgel. He's just got the mummified wrapping around his head. Bianco inside 50. Big pack of players. Chance here. Was that out of play? It was. So we're going to have this ball tossed back in. It was building nicely. Spicer was getting ready. Just didn't get that opportunity. But in a good position if you're a Footscray supporter. And there's a few of them on that outer side getting in early. 2 hours and 40 minutes before the AFL game starts.
That's commitment.
It is commitment. I expect nothing less from these fans. They do a great job. Here's Bailey Scott just getting this ball out into space. Daniel trying to basketball it back to him himself, working their hunts. And they're holding the footy as a result. Good pressure from the Bombers. And Caddy will get the Bombers going.
Although his switch kick is no good. Bianco takes the intercept mark. He's got teammates running by. Sweeping handball from Fraser out to Artie Jones. Oh, the steps are beautiful. He cuts back inboard to Garcia. Jones wants it back. He's got support from Fraser, who broke one tackle. Tries to break a second. Gets it on the right foot. Fingertips to it from Hayes. McNeil picked the pocket. He snaps into goal and misses to the near side. One behind. They've certainly upped their intensity the last 10 minutes or so, Tyrone, have the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, they've gone up to now a 6+ on the inside 50s, Joe, and they're slowly working their way into that inside 50 more. It'll be interesting to see how Essendon replies in this second quarter.
Into the middle of the ground we go. Smart. And now Daniel just stole it from him. That kick's going wide. It's into a good space. They look to build again. Bianco. Couple of nice setups, nice kicks inside 50 in the last 5 minutes or so. Here's Spicer trying to close it on the footy. Can't keep it in. Nice little closing speed there from Phoenix Spicer.
He's just so exciting every time he's around the football.
Yeah.
I'm on the edge of my seat just waiting to see what Phoenix Spicer's going to do today.
So wait for this footy to come back into play. Midway through this second term. Round 3 of the Smithies VFL. That's dropped well short. Teeny doing the ruck work duties and another stalemate.
I've got a question for you, Pete. Are they dropping short or are the ruckmen standing further back expecting it to come to them?
Well, if they haven't worked it out yet, because it does seem to be a bit of a trend in this game, probably need to get onto that pretty quickly as Foley trying to get out of close quarters. Do so, the handball's just shot out in a dangerous position for the Bombers. Scott decided to go underground. O'Neill looking for some experience, and they do get it through O'Neill. Long ball outside 50. Buslinger putting the fist in right towards the line. It should go over and does. We'll have it tossed in. Harris will throw the ball to the boundary umpire.
Just going back to it, I think rucks are almost taught to take that huge run up now. It's like king of the pack. You wouldn't stand at the front, would you?
Well, here they are about to set up. You can see this on your screen. They're almost on the line of the centre square as this one is about to be thrown back in. It's Vicentini and Gardner as the ball comes spearing back into play, and it's going to fall short of him again. And there's a whistle this time.
Holding.
And Gardner's earned the free kick. Vicentini, as Pete said, was holding on to him. Inside 50 to the top of the square. A big pack of players. Big fly from the back. Orgel stayed down. Neal boots a ball. It ends up now with Garcia, the man on track for 60. He just threw a handball into space. Had a crack at it. Did Sardis, and he was taken high in winning back the football for the Bombers.
He's only got 48 more to go, guys.
Oh, he's on his way.
Please don't say world record pace.
Not yet anyway. We haven't seen that red line come across the screen just yet, Pete, as Arthur Jones tried to intercept the ball on the outer side of the ground, but the Bombers win out. Thumps it in the Vicentini direction. The sweeping handball works out towards Daniel, who's on the Toyota logo. Cuts back inboard. Kick not great. Stolen by Archie Roberts. There's no one in front of him. He just puts it to space for Smart to run onto it and slam it into goal. Awake to it were the young Bombers, stealing back the football from that Caleb Daniel kick. And as Caleb comes from the ground, frustrated with himself, Essendon can rejoice. A second goal to Oscar Smart, Tyrone. Oscar
Smart running the perfect small forward route there. Starting up high, working his way back into the space. A guy who was really good at that back in the day was young Ballas, someone who I used to watch forward routes for. So awesome work by Oscar Smart there. There's a bit of biff going on out here as well between Paris. Just getting into a few of the doggies, boys, letting them know.
Well, it just shows how costly those turnovers are in the middle of the ground, because Essendon had 2 or 3 players that could have raffled that off. Just going back to that boundary line throw-in and how far back they are. It's okay if you're running forward, if you're running in a straight line, but because they hang on to each other, that ball is always dropping short. Harms. And for the Bulldogs, a fumble at the crucial moment from Freya. Now has to go back in and do the heavy lifting again. Keith is there though, works with Gardner. Across there to Cleary, who goes well wide, trying to keep it in as Bianco. He's bundled over the line, and the umpire says throw it in.
Well, let's see here where they set up. On the wing this is.
Trent Bianco really starting to work his way into this game as well. Up to 6 disposals now. I think he only had 2 coming into the second quarter.
It's getting a little bit, couple of metres. This is Brian and Gardner. Now you'll see here, if they run in a straight line, they'll get there. But because they hang on and they push each other off the footy, it drops short. So that dropped very low for Brian. O'Neill is there at the bottom of the pack, and the umpire will throw it up.
Just on Brian, Lobb kind of evening out the contest with him today in the ruck.
Shield trying to come through, didn't get his hands on the footy. Well, by Maple, the 23rd player. This ball's going to be turned over though, and it's Roberts who's got it, Joey.
Yeah, Archie Roberts had a hand in the last goal. Thumping kick of the footy's a beauty. And again, he picks out the young man Smart. The two of them waxing lyrical. From outside 50, Smart goes to the top of the square. It's a 3-on-1. Easy pickings in the end for the Bulldogs defence to smash it through for a behind. We're into time on 8-3-51. The Bombers will move to 8-4-52. And that scoreboard updates. Footscray 5-7-37 as Bustlinger brings the footy back in. He'll get the handball received and then sweep it wider still. Short ball's a good one. And it's in the hands here of Dom Bedendo. So go to centre half back. The kick's got to be precise for Keith. It is, although he didn't see Wiedemann standing right next to him. Then Sam smothers the football. Caddy locks up Buslinger. That's really good from the Bombers. Not smart from the Dogs' defence. The umpire didn't blow the whistle. And so the Dogs get a second chance to get it away with Keith to Harms. And James has a bounce on the half-back flank. Gives it to Dom Bedendo. And Dom wants to cut back inboard to Poulter. Right beneath us. Sweeping left foot kick into the centre square is a good one. Out wide to Frazier. Inside 50 for Cooper Clark. And keep it in. The Chook can. The space opens up in front of him. Right foot to goal. Jones couldn't take the mark off hands. Wasted opportunity, Pete.
Should have had the shot. He should have had the shot there. It looked like he was giving the pass off.
1 goal 3 now for Charlie Clark. 5 goals 8 for Footscray.
Yeah, good chance, and probably another 5 minutes actually to close in on goal if he wanted to. Matthew Foley. Long kick outside 50. The bottom of the pack is Bianco. Going absolutely nowhere, and the umpire will toss it up. So well into time on in this second quarter. I think a credit to the Bombers and the way they've gone about this in this first half. 16 AFL listed players for the Bulldogs, 11 for the Bombers today. And so that will be thrown in on that outer side. Smart, who's a very good game as the 23rd player.
He's lively.
Very lively. And he's kicked 2 goals in this opening half. Let's wait for this ball to come back into play. There you go. They're standing right there. Silver service. Holding going on, mind you. Gardner was doing a little bit of holding, but it hit them. The ball will go to Nick Bryan. Works it across. Sardis. Prolific in the opening quarter. Wiedemann a little bit further up the ground to take that mark. Where's Nate Caddy? Should be the next link in this chain. He's got to come from 3 back though. Visentini is there. He's looking to claim the mark, wrapped up in the tackle. The umpire will toss it up.
Just back on Brian, I was going to say that the Doggies' rucks have evened him out, but he's up to 15 hit-outs now, well on track for his average of 34.
So thrown back up, Visentini. Tried to shark the footy, but it's Garcia sending it backwards in the hands of Maple. And his dump kick is on the paint of 50. Foley. It's stolen back by Roberts.
Oh.
He's smashed and thrown into the ground, Archie Roberts. He almost broke away, but he couldn't.
Well, the don't argue was the giveaway there. He was in trouble.
He had a crack at it, and it was Craig Peters winning back the football for the Western Bulldogs. So they're going to go back to go forward. This is Luke Cleary in the back pocket. Joel Frazier goes to half forward. The Hyphens got it again. Inch by inch, they move their way up the ground. James Harms now with the Sherrin in hand. Thinks about going corridor and then opts to keep it out of side. Frazier again. Harms will run past. Frazier will choose to kick into the corridor.
Let's watch Caleb Daniel near side here.
Tristan Maple, he goes for Daniel, but off the side of the ground is Davey. He's an excite machine, the complete package is Jaden, who goes back to Sardis on the half-back flank.
Yep, so he came from the bench. They didn't see him coming.
An Australian, as Dennis would say.
As Toma goes wide. Luau. His kick's a good one. Scott's. Now he's got runners alongside. Hayes is the wider option. That's where he's going. He's come all the way up the ground to get that kick. Hayes, or as his nickname inventively is, Hazy, inside 50, and the turnover will be on. Crofts takes a strong mark. Poulter. Work across the grounds. This is okay. Harms as work it to Daniel. Kick across the ground is a good one. Into the path of McNeil. And just held up. He'll go short. Just being held up here. Nice work for the Bombers' defence. Maple's kick is short again. And here is Cleary. Into Lobb. They did find the hole. And eventually Lobb led that way. And he found some space. He didn't need all that much. And he takes another mark inside 50.
Just something interesting here, guys. Tex Wanganeen warming up on the boundary line. Looks like he might be set to come in for his first VFL game of the year after a foot injury.
So Rory Lobb. We keep talking up his goal kick. He hasn't kicked one today. The pain of 50. Well, he's rectified that. No problem at all from there. Important goal too for Footscray as we head towards half time. As 52 plays 44. The arm wrestle continues here at Marvel Stadium, round 3 of the Smithies VFL for 2024.
He was just too close. He just wanted to go back a bit further, get a bit more boot in there.
Sometimes you don't need to say much, Pete.
No, exactly.
Maybe that might be the answer to this whole thing.
What, us not saying much?
Less is more.
I'm sure there's a school of thought that folks listening right now thinking that.
The commentator's curse is real. That's all I'm saying.
So if you don't say anything...
Has it happened to you, Tyrone?
Yes, many times. That's why I missed all my set shots, even when there was no commentator.
Doing it yourself, weren't you, from the ground?
Yep. 100%.
Michael O'Loughlin style, he used to talk to himself as he walked into goal, as we go back into the centre square, and the latest goal kicker is in the guts. I like that. Don't get me on about it, though.
We know.
He's hurt himself, though, off the back of the circle. Just keep your eye on that as Harms thumps it inside 50 for the Dogs. Bedendo's lurking. He'll throw himself at the will of the Sharon. McNeil does so as well, along with Bailey Scott. The umpire wraps it up. There might be a bit of an ankle on Rory Long.
He's okay. He's stumbling down now to this next contest, but he's looking a bit proppy.
Made his way down.
Entertaining on the next TikTok he does. Here's Tom Thomas on the ground. Off to Scott. Wrapped up. Thrown 360. Missed Brian. Bedendo had the head ripped off. And he'll get the free kick. Will Dom Bedendo. And as we near half-time, this will make it a 2-point ball game. Which means we've got the close one on a Friday afternoon at Marvel Stadium, Pete.
He likes working with that because it's the only one, Tyrone.
There you go. You don't have to give it away. It's a sense of theatre that there is plenty of games going on.
Well, there is tomorrow. Don't worry about that.
I'll get you to go around the ground shortly with what we've got come up.
Off to Canberra tomorrow, GWS.
You flying there?
Sandringham, no.
You got the early morning flight, do you?
In business? Got him in business?
Pete would definitely be in the Virgin Lounge.
Only way I fly.
Here's Dom Bedendo to cut the margin to under a goal. Steady approach, not a great kick, never coming back. Sneaks in just for a minus score. Fans of the VFL can catch Pete at Melbourne Airport parking pretty early on in the morning.
No, but Werribee tomorrow. Looking forward to the Battle of the Tiger.
Avalon Airport Oval. Again.
Yeah, speaking of airports, as Hayes goes really long down the middle of the ground. Keith put the hands up. Now the tackling pressure comes in. Smart there, wrapping up his opponents. That'll be an interesting game, GWS and Sandringham. With Carlton on Sunday as well, the Channel 7 match of the round. Back. Scots ran out of room and has coughed up the footy, and away they go. Working through Haitley. His kick is a good one. Oh, into the hands there of Wiedemann. Has to go back in, do the work. Can he keep it inside the boundary? He cannot. We will have it tossed in, but deep into attack here for the Bombers. They'd love one just before half-time. As we wait for this footy to come back in.
They've been taking their time today, the boundary umpires, haven't they?
They have. Well, they've looked back and seen how far the two ruckmen are and thinking, well, that ain't happening. And that's a good throw in as well. Brian getting the tap down. And again, the forwards of the Bombers just wrapping this ball up, keeping it locked in. There's the skipper, Xavier O'Neill. On West Coast list, the Bulldogs will look to clear into the middle of the ground. Hayes was just dealt with there by Bedendo. It is a free kick going the way of the Bulldog, though. And again, they'll take the advantage twice here. Worked it across. Here's Hunt. His kick inside 50. Not too many talls back there for the Bulldogs. And McKay taking a great mark, Joey.
He does, and he backtracks to his defensive goal square. It was almost too hot for Eckersley, but he was able to reel it in and then get to Foley. So playing out the minutes till we have the halftime break. It's a 7-point lead to the Bombers. Foley sends it down the line. It's a 2-on-1 as Caddy burst his way through. Buslinger picked off the Sharon. Now he's trying to will the Dogs forward in the final moments of this first half. Keith wants to backtrack, just gets to Cleary. And he goes further back, but it works out okay.
They're out
for the
here.
Dogs and Maple to get to Lob.
Oh, wrong spot.
From half back to half forward. Just. Spicer was met by Luau. Can he pick out a target? Can they get one more before half time? Here's Maple. Inside 50. Orgel. Did he have the hands chopped? He did. Garcia thought about advantage before he was reeled down. But Daniel Orgel now, the stand-in captain for today, with Chatfield injured.
He's got a knee injury, Josh Chatfield.
He does. Daniel Orgel, Pete, boy out of Collegians in the Ammos.
It's going to only a matter of time before he got an Ammos mention.
Nearly an hour into the broadcast too. That's probably one of the longer
times have changed.
stretches. Daniel Orgel from the paint of 50. We're right behind the kick. It's on its way. What a way to bring up a captain's goal and go into the halftime break with some momentum for the Dogs. Orgel.
Their opponents get away. Harms managed to get that kick out. There's holding going on. Jones was being held. Advantage is being paid. And the shot at goal, that's not a good sign if you're a Bomber. But it's a great one if you're a Bulldog. And Willoughby has his second of the afternoon. And they put themselves in front. Footscray, not even a 30 seconds into the third quarter, Tyrone.
Exactly what you guys talked about. The Dogs just came out firing. They fired the first punch, and it's going to be hard here for Essendon to strike back because Footscray have slowly imposed their will on this game, and you can see from Lamont Lual there holding his man. It gets harder and harder to defend as the waves keep coming and coming. So hopefully they can steady themselves here, have their experience with Shield, get some experience in there, level the heads.
And that's been the big issue for the Bombers over the best part of the last 12 months. So we're back into the centre square, and it's Gardner, although Bryant picked the pocket, got to his captain in O'Neill, and went back to Scott. Tom Thomas was shoved aside by Poulter to James Harms. But Dendo, now Willoughby, inside 50 go the Bulldogs again. Lob was Hoare all over him. The umpire said no, so Will picked it up. His handball, though, not a good one. Harms can stroll into goal. Touched off the boot, but only just. Fingertips to it.
Relentless the Doggies are at the moment.
Worrying signs early in this third term, Pete.
As Hayes will bring the footy back into play for Essendon. He'll go straight up the middle of the ground. Looking for Haitley. Picking it up, Toma. Lost a handle on it. Straight back inside 50. Spices on the end of this one.
And Pete, you talked about, as I asked you...
Oh, and he goes over the top. Bolter.
You talked about, when we came back from that break, not lose the defensive structure of the Bombers. Just then, right on cue, 4, 5, 6 players, bees to a honeypot, Spicer, Poulter out on their own. It's just the one area that they can't let themselves down in.
Well, when you start getting into elite football as well, holding your structure is something that your coaches really look for. So it can be the difference between an AFL player and a VFL player sometimes, is recognising that structure and holding it.
So in he comes, Caleb Poulter. Oh, nope, didn't look like it. Just went out. Missed the lot, actually.
Nearly hit that man in the fluoro jumper at the back there. Didn't even flinch.
So a complete miss there from Poulter. The Bombers, let's see what they can do here, Joey.
Yeah, so it's going to be Foley. The Dogs have got this set up as if it's to be a brick wall and it'll come back in. Fraser didn't take the mark, brought it to ground, and here's Garcia on track for 60, we reckon. But Dendo didn't even bother grabbing it, just volleyball spiked at 25 metres. Bryan was met by Garcia. Tom Toma goes up and down the chimney with the left foot kick. Caddy sits underneath the high ball. Here's the Bomber Smalls going to work. Davey tried to get back to Luau. Strong was Cleary. It gets over the line.
That was Tex Wanganeen there, coming in for his first minutes of the game today, returning from that foot injury.
Great to see him back for Bombers fans. So they're seeing Dylan Shield for the first time in 2024. So thrown in just beneath us at the interchange gates. Bryan to the front, Gardner over the top. Here is Shield, getting it to Haitley. 3 goals in the first half if you've just joined us. Buzzling up, missed the ball as he went up in the air. Fraser slipped over, Davey close quickly. And Keith gets taken over the boundary line by Wiedemann. Right where the 50 meets the boundary line. The umpire will throw this one in.
Said the Bombers can do is this inside 50. It's been a quick response from the Bulldogs, try and take control of the contest. Garcia went without it. I'm sure that counts as a stat. Anyway, there's Harms. Oh, kick up and into the path of Croft. Now, needs a few players to break for him. He's got Jones as one of them. And that kick will find him. Did well. Got a player over the top is Spice that needs to sit for him. It doesn't have to. Look at that 1-2. Bang! Another one. Jones has kicked his second. The 1-2 working beautifully for the Bulldogs, and they move the ball at double quick pace to get it down there, and they get the results. And now they're starting to put some distance on their opponents.
Some absolute class there from the two small forwards. The maturity of Phoenix Spicer in this game should be rewarded, because he looks almost like a different player, lads. He's a lot more composed, takes a little bit more time to look over the shoulder, and finds the Mount Barker boy and Artie Jones there for the classy finish.
So, Pete, they've now kicked 4 goals in a row, the last 2 before half-time with Orgle right on the siren, and the first 2 of this third term, and we've gone 5 minutes. And they did trail by 15 points late in that second term. They're now holding a 12-point advantage. Blake Caracella has got some work to do for the Bombers as Xavier O'Neill goes backwards. The handball, though, missed Haitley. And Cooper Peters was strong as he thumps it inside 50. Lob, Hayes, they were met in the air as the ball hits the ground. Campbell Gray just tried to shovel it out. Jones put the block on to allow his teammate in, but Tom Thomas closed and won the Sharon for the Bombers to have this one locked up.
That must be fun to say, Tom Thomas.
Tom Thomas, it's one of the great names in the VFL. He joined the club over the pre-season. We're watching a free kick being given away from Brian, and this is going to be Jordan Croft, who will have his first shot at goal. He made his debut the last time the Dogs ran out there, which was a fortnight ago, against the Casey Demons. The father-son recruit. The old man, staple in the back 6. Jordan Croft in the front 6. Not bringing this one back, though, a minus score. But right now, Tyrone, it seems like every time the Dogs go inside 50, they're at least hitting the scoreboard.
Yeah, they're really taking advantage of those inside 50s. The inside 50 total up to plus 10 now over Essendon. Was plus 6 last time they came in, so slowly lengthening that gap in scoring opportunities.
So Luau to bring the footy back in, just deciding on the short option. Hayes, 25 disposals last week. And lost to Sandringham. This is dangerous because Gray's under all sorts of pressure. Luau just pushed off the kick, and it's going to be turned over again. It's going to come straight back in. Bianco, so good in that second quarter, and the delivery is superb here again. And, well, they're just lining up the Bulldogs to have a crack, and Cooper Craig Peters with an opportunity to kick his second of the afternoon / evening. And that's just a little bit too easy in terms of moving that ball inside 50 for the Bulldogs. So Cooper Craig Peters steps in. Will he be successful? No. Gee, they've had some opportunities here to really put their opposition away in this opening 7.5 minutes. Been able to do it.
You don't want to leave the goal at the door. You don't want to leave the door open for teams with this much
or the
talent.
goal, to be fair.
Yeah, you don't want to leave the
You're
goal
right
open
there too.
either, that's right. Bit of soccer, but hopefully the Doggies can make the most of their opportunities going forward.
And there's a whistle to a free kick for the Bombers. Right beneath us, it's Nick Bryan. They've had some opportunities. 21 scoring shots to 12. A 14-point lead in favour of Footscray. O'Neill in front of the interchange gates takes the mark. Wiedemann from the side was Smart. Peris did the roving. Smart still down for the moment. Yeah. Wanganeen off to Wiedemann. The big man broke the tackle. He shoves it off to Roberts. A left foot from a standing start is just missing to the near side. Pete Smart is still on the ground.
He hasn't moved. He hasn't moved at all. Now he's slowly getting to his feet. It'll take a little while there. He caught one. Just having a discussion with the doctor as well. It's Caleb Daniel who will just stroll outside 50. No one coming to him. And the kick for Poulter's a good one.
It's going to come from the ground, Oscar Smart.
In the middle of the ground, here's Keith. Speaking of smart kick there. And they've got the run. Garcia adding another one to the 60 that Joey reckons he's going to get today. But sitting there having the drop was McNeil. Oh, he found it beautifully. Needs the finish and hits the post. Goodness me. They are having some opportunities here, the Bulldogs.
So much time and space at the moment. If you're the Essendon coach's box, you almost have to think, how can we get our guys to run back in defence and minimise that space for them?
So straight up the guts is what they're going to try and do, the Bombers. to arrest this momentum from the Footscray Footy Club. Whistle, advantage. Here's Garcia again. He sweeps the handball to Bianco, gives the handball to McNeil, found space where there wasn't any. Back to Harms, gave it back to Bianco on the left foot to the goal square. And sliding in is Lewis Hayes, who's just being screamed at to slow down. Take some time and let's just possess the Sharon for a couple of minutes. Hayes, broadcast side of the ground with a kick. Vicentini, tallest man in the pack, couldn't take the mark. The nice paddle ended up with Harms. Craig Peters had his pocket picked. Along the ground is the Sharon. Buslinger back to Harms. Another handball, and it works out with Garcia. On the right foot for Jones. Both dogs went at it. And it's Scott getting it down to Roberts. There's only vacant land in front of him. He's got a handball to his captain O'Neill, who slipped over. Managed to be clean for Foley. Can give to Roberts, who was now turning away from him. And Foley goes inside for Caddy. That'll excite Bomber fans. And Nate Caddy has to show a mature head here, Tyrone, and go back and show everyone why he was recruited with pick number 10.
That has been Essendon's strength all day. The one thing that I can say has been a positive for Essendon fans, is their rebound work. They're rebounding really well. It's just what they can do after when they don't get opportunities.
So Nate Caddy has kicked a couple of goals so far in 2024. On its way, this one's to the near side and not working back enough. He's got 2 behinds for the night now, Pete. Bombers are still getting a chance to go inside 50, but they need to capitalise when they do.
A quarter dominated by the points at the moment.
Just on Garcia, he's broke 20 disposals.
He's on his way.
He's on his way.
Yeah, not sure 40 will be forthcoming in a
don't rule it out,
1
Pete.
3/4 quarters.
Never.
I might just be saying never on this occasion, though, Tyrone, to be honest. As Cleary goes back to Daniel as they try and exit D50. Keith. Just standing flat-footed there was James Harms. Need to do better. Caddy, handball across. And he does. Good follow-up work, James Harms. He made the error and he followed up nicely. Clark will set the Bulldogs inside 50 again. Here's Gardner, an acre of space. There's players lining up for this. Jones can take his time and finish. He's got his thirds. And they just had acres of space there. Did Footscray. And they're putting the foot down now. They've been inaccurate in this third quarter, but they've had plenty of disposal down there. And 12 minutes in, 73 plays 54.
What I was saying is that the rebound work from Essendon has been really good coming back towards their forward line. But once they make a mistake or miss a goal, how do we work our way back? Do we have the gut run in us? And so far, the Doggies have just been outworking them on the way back.
It's 5 goals in a row now, and the margin is out to 19 points. Bombers kicked the first 3 goals of this contest as well. Blew out to an 18-point lead themselves early. Since then, Footscray have been able to wrestle back the momentum and keep the game on their terms. And great to see Artie Jones with 3 goals now next to his name. And Jackson Haitley has 3 for the Bombers. The other thing they're doing quite well, Tyrone, the forwards all pushing up and they're just running into vacant land back towards goal. And you know, at any level of football, players running towards goal usually run faster than when they're running away from it.
Oh, and as a defender, you are absolutely not feeling good about it.
No,
you're very scared.
You're in quicksand when you're a defender watching your forward charge, and you're thinking, when did he get that turn of pace? Inside the centre square, Shield put his head over it. Orgel found it out the back door, and straight away he was wrapped up by Vicentini. Locked up in the middle. We haven't had a stack of stoppages around the ground. Had a few boundary throw-ins, which we talked about throughout the first half of this contest. Vicentini, the big roundhouse, but again going nowhere. So maybe, Pete, it might be your opportunity to try and bust this little passage of play open.
See if we can get the stoppages to end here, get a bit of free flowing. Vicentini and Gardner, Garcia.
Oh, another one.
Around the body. You just keep marking him on your stat sheet as
running out of ink.
The ball rolls through Foley. Here's Spicer though for the Bulldogs. The handball is okay to McNeil. The kick inside 50 is okay too. They've got to be careful here, the Bombers. They don't want to concede. They'll pour off the side of the boot. No one around. This is dangerous. What's the umpire saying? Throw it in. Well, there wasn't anyone really around.
You never know.
We've seen worse paid.
Yes.
As insufficient intent. As we wait for this footy to come back into play. And another shallow throw in, and the ball straight back to the boundary line there from Ryan Gardner. And we'll do it again.
Now, that was pretty clear what he was trying to do there, Tyrone.
Ryan Gardner now stepping into the hitouts. He's sort of turning the tides for the Footscray midfield a little bit, going up against a guy who averages 34 hitouts.
He would argue that there needs to be someone there just in front just to pick up that footy. Read the play, know where I'm going. Orgill, speaking of reading the play, did that beautifully. Inside 50. Well, Bedendo had to stay down, just pushing it towards the path of goal. Spicer putting the pressure on. It's worked out. McKay. They managed to get the defensive mark. Here's Hayes. He'll just go by a short kick. Foley. Not sure where he wants to go. Luau right near the line. Did he keep it in? He did. He's going to be paid the mark at halfback.
He wants to come back inboard. So that's what he does. Eckersley. Almost every player is in front of him. He's got Lewis Hayes. 20 metres backwards. Now Lewis wants to try and transition. The kick's got to be precise. For Will Hoare it is. Maybe they've got something on this side of the ground. Hoare wants to go corridor. That's a wonderful, well-weighted ball for Tom Thomas and Archie Roberts. So the Bombers work the angles, and here's Tex Wanganeen. Our first look at him. Tex quickly has a bounce. And a wonderful, well-weighted ball for Smart. Sort of taking the mark, and the umpire not paying it. Roberts wobbles it inside 50. Caddy direction with Davey. Brilliant deft touch. Off to O'Neill. He was wrapped up by McNeil. And Lockie has been rewarded with a free kick for Footscray in his defensive back 50. Wonder, Pete, whether Jaden Davey might have just been able to grab that one rather than trying to tap it down to Nate Caddy and be a bit cute with it.
Yes, Hunt's got the ball here at half back. Put on 3 goals 4 here. Footscray. A little inaccurate. Orgill on the long lead. Bombers just the 2 behinds. And here is Garcia, a mark, and now a kick.
Nice crowd already building in for the AFL game at 7:40, Pete.
As Hunt goes towards the lob. Flying there, Bedendo as well. Gray for the Bombers. Only be temporary relief. Fraser sees that ball over the line. In fact, did it come off a boot? It did. It's going to be a free kick going the way of the Bombers. It's going to be Smart. Good to see him back out on the ground, actually, after copying that knock. He come for a bit of assessment, but he's okay. And so Smart looks up, doesn't see a lot that he likes, so he's just going to bomb it as long as he possibly can. Caddy, the focal point. He's being held. He'll get a free kick. And so Nate Caddy, he's not on the goal kickers list just yet. Chance to rectify it right now. And for all the footy that Footscray have had inside 50, they haven't put their opponents away.
I actually find it hard to believe that Caddy hasn't hit the scoreboard yet. He was so electric in the first half.
Just a couple of behinds next to Nate's name, Pete.
Yeah, here he goes. Can he add himself to the goal kickers list? He can. A real team lift to that one for Essendon. And the margin back to 13 points as we head towards time on in this third quarter.
It's their first goal, Tyrone, since the 18-minute mark of the second quarter. We're now at the 18-minute mark of the third quarter. Long time between drinks.
Well, it's much needed, that's for sure. And football is a game of runs, definitely. So Essendon are going to be looking to try and get their own run here. It's what they can make of it. Can they make the most of the opportunity and before Footscray come back and punch them back? Or will they fall short and give it up?
Really important that the Bombers are able to string another one together quickly off the back of that Nate Caddy goal. That might be the one that sort of starts them again. 13 points in arrears of Footscray. As we go back into the centre square, Brian missed the ball as he went up before acceptances. Gardner down to Craig Peters. Harms to Orgill. The stand-in skipper for the day is Daniel Orgill. We go to the top of the goal square. and easily plucked out in the end by Campbell Gray, who I'm told has got springs in his feet, the young man. Gives it off to Eggersley. And now to Luau. Oh, went through his legs, nutmeg style. Caleb Poulter had a little chuckle to himself. As we'll have this one thrown in on the broadcast side. As I mentioned, lads, nice crowd building for AFL tonight. Hope you two aren't sitting in anyone's seats.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. I'm looking around. I'm waiting for someone to come tap me on the shoulder and go, hey, mate, can you please get out of the way?
Well,
it's a ticketed event, Pete.
If that's the case, then they have to call the rest of the game. So it's on them. There's the ball here. Spills out. Luau. Oh, he kicked it to the play straight in front of him. Not good practice, that one. Hunts did well. Now Orgill. Kick inside 50 there's going to be a bit of holding going on, and it will be a Bombers free kick. This kick potentially dangerous. Foley did well going back with the flight. Across the grounds, they get the switch happening. Kay's kick's going to be intercepted though. Just a skill error is costing them. Bianco swooped onto the footy, put it into a dangerous position. Now, who's going to be able to pick it up? Oh, it's Harms. Did well. Burns off the opposition. Handball over the top. He's going to get the handball received. Should finish here. Harms, he does! Great team footy again from Footscray. And he gets his first of the evening. And the margin, 19 points into time on in this third quarter.
That was just a bit of magic from James Harms there, absolutely taking the game on and finishing. But if you're Essendon, you have to be absolutely spewing at the moment. You've done actually the right thing. You've slowed the game down. You've started playing on your own terms, but just costly turnovers opening the door there for James Harms.
So 4 goals for this term for Footscray. The Bombers have just added the 1 goal too. Sucks a bit of air out of the Bombers balloon, doesn't it, Tyrone, when, as you just said, started to wrestle back some of the momentum, and James Harms did the grunt stuff, the tough stuff, got the 1-2 and finished with a goal. So back into the centre square, into time on of this third term, and the margin 19 points. Shield with a deft touchdown to Jackson Haitley. Right on the 50, here's a young boy Smart. I like the cut of this kid's jib. Inside 50 for O'Neill, it was a fingertipper that just slipped through. And it's the Dogs' defence winning out. Here's Garcia, sweeping handball to Harms. Garcia pushed off it off the ball. Harms stood strong, although his handball went to Shield. Nice little turn of foot from Dylan. Inside 50, pushed away from Caddy. Daniel tried to find the safety of the boundary line. In the end, he gets there. Nate Caddy, a little pat on the head for Caleb Daniel.
And Dylan Shield just letting Garcia know how many AFL games he's played a bit there, putting him off the ball, coming back, getting the ball back.
So just inside 50, this one's about to be thrown back in. The Bombers find a response to the Harms goal. Bryan will go up in the ruck against Gardner. He just grabbed it out, then he bounced off his chest. Harms again. Haitley threw him into the ground. Shield shoveled it out to Tom Thomas. Another one to O'Neill. Can they just find enough room? Smart. He wants to get on the right foot. Chose to handball to his captain and missed him. And McNeil gets it off to Frazier, and the Dogs are clearing with Artie Jones.
Yeah, Artie Jones, who's got an acre of space here. He can run it all the way to 50 if he wants. A second bounce. He'll steady. Look for the right option. It's a one-on-one. Gardner got hands to it. The boundary line will win out. He could have kept going there, Artie. Could have taken about 4 bounces to take it to 50. No one was near him.
Could have watched Brisbane last night, a bit of Charlie Cameron action. Said, you know what, I'm faster than you.
Start the Harley.
The Jets, yeah.
Yes.
Pete, you mentioned the right option there. I'm not quite sure Gardner looking for body position was the right option. He could just stuck the arms out and almost would have stuck into his hands.
All right, I'll rephrase. It was the only option down there. As Orgill.
Nope.
Thereby, by definition, should therefore be the best option. Because it's the only option.
Yeah, Joe.
Points being made by the great Pete Mercado.
More of those points from Joey being made. There's holding going on. It's going to be Footscray free kick here on the State of Play podcast. I believe
7:30 every Tuesday, Pete.
Joe's co-host on the show, Gemma Bastiani, is putting in a few invoices to the AFL for massages for having to carry Joe around. His shoulders are awfully sore.
I was just about to say that. She walked in with him on her shoulders the other day.
As the kick goes in, here's Croft. Extends the margin for Footscray, but only by 1 solitary points. So 24 minutes gone, 20 points is the margin.
Oh, it's a great podcast, the State of Play podcast. Every Tuesday at 7:30 you can hear some of the gold that wraps up the weekend's action. The latest statement is Zane Littlejohn will be an AFL coach in 5 years. Bookmark it and hashtag it bloody good when it comes true.
Well, that is true, because you went behind the scenes of the state team and mic'd him up.
I did. Very gracious of Zane to let us into the rooms and have a listen to him chat to his troops. And I imagine the Box Hill Hawks obviously get a front row seat to that every week, and why wouldn't they be playing the way they are? You'd run through a brick wall for Zane Littlejohn. As Caleb Poulter gets the Sharon and shovels it to half forward. Artie Jones in a 2-on-1. Did really well to keep that footy locked up where he was. Foley, wrapped up by Poulter, kept the ball inside play. So Garcia will go inside 50.
Look at this.
It's vacant land, or Gray went back with a flight where Angels feared to tread. Did really well to knock the Sharon away. In the end, Haitley picked it up, pushed aside Harms, off to Hayes, out to Bryan, and the Bombers from defence can clear.
Yeah, they were not terribly convincing, and that the fist coming in from Gray went to a Bulldogs player who was all on his own, couldn't pick it up. Here's Tom Thomas.
Just something to watch, guys. Caleb Poulter, a bit of a hobble behind the play here on the near side.
Oh, big fly by Roberts trying to come through. Now he has to wait under the footy. He's waiting an eternity. He's going to be pings. Free kick to Footscray. 25 gone.
Caleb Poulter going to stay out there, though. Decides not to go on the interchange.
So the short option for Orgill is Keith in the middle of the ground, and that's where he goes. Daniel trying to make some space. Wider is Maple. He just goes with the 15 to Cleary. Very congested inside. Footscray's 50. That long ball coming in. It went through Bedendo's hands. Here's Orgill again, going to take an uncontested mark this time. Too far out to score. A few appeals, a few leads being ignored. Going to put it in to the hot spot. And good grab by Scott for the Bombers.
He needed to take it too. There were a couple of dogs around him. So strong was Bailey Scott. Picks out Campbell Gray. In the back pocket on the broadcast side. Back to his defensive goal square to Scott. Just to try the opposite pocket now with Xavier O'Neill. Time for think music for Essendon. Trail by 20 points. They're not out of this game by any stretch. Although the mark taken by Buslinger. If he can find a target inside 50, it'll make it tough for the Dons. He'll work it into the pocket. 3 will fly. Scott will stay down and rove it. Roberts, Haitley, smashed into McKay. The pocket picked by Daniel Orgill. Finds Garcia. Gets it off. The snap at goal. That's off the boot of Bedendo. It's going across the face of goal. It's bouncing on its point and staying inside the field of play.
And on its endo.
And Foley picks out Poulter. The left foot chiseler for Harms. It's over his head. They're queuing up at the top of the goal square, and McNeil makes a meal of it. Through for a minor score. It's just about summed up the whole 30 minutes of this third quarter, Pete.
Joe, you mentioned it earlier, how Essendon tend to fade out. It's night and day. It's a tale of two teams at the moment.
So the kick going in short. And here's Haitley. Short again. Tom Thomas.
Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Tom Thomas.
Golden square. Goes wide. In there first, Freya. Ball off hands. Now they should be able to come back in again. Keith just sets Garcia running. Through the middle of the ground. Spots up a target. And there's plenty of them. And here is Bedendo, who's got a chance at his first for the evening, closing in on three-quarter time. And a chance here from just outside 50.
Regardless of whether it's a goal or point, Tyrone, this is their 10th scoring shot of the term. The Bombers have had 3.
Well, I might have mentioned earlier how they were plus 10 in inside 50s. We're now up to plus 23 in inside 50s.
It's a swarm, Pete. It's an absolute Bulldog swarm.
Let's see what Dom Bedendo can do. A stuttering run up, but plenty of distance on that. Looking good. Now he's on the goal kickers list. And they're looking pretty good now, Footscray, as we head towards three-quarter time. 87 plays 60. And it's been all one-way traffic in this third quarter.
Just a quick update. Riley Garcia now up to 26 disposals and a goal. James Harms close behind, 23 and 1. Jackson Haitley leading for Essendon, 20 disposals, and 3 goals. Nearly said 20 goals. That would have been handy.
Very handy for Essendon.
Would have been world record pace, that one.
So we're back into the centre square, and the Bulldogs, after trailing by a point at half-time, have pushed this out to a 27-point lead. They've kicked 5 goals, 6 in this term alone. The Bombers just the 1 goal, 2. The goal, though, came from the boot of Nate Caddy. So Essendon fans who are here, have probably been watching on the stream at home, have enjoyed some of Elijah Sardis' work as well as Nate's. Bianco, right on the three-quarter time siren, smashed into Alwyn Davey. And that is the three-quarter time score, 12-15-87 to 9-6-60. A 27-point lead underway at Marvel Stadium, of course, building up to the Western Bulldogs and Essendon at 7:40. Haitley is going to be rewarded with the first free kick of the final term. Kick partially smothered. So Gardner, the ruckman, went back, got it to Harms, bounced it up to himself, and he tried to bounce off Bryan, but Nick was strong in bringing down the Bulldogs midfielder. Even Caddy, stronger still. But he pushed his opponent in the back. And so the Bulldogs, with Cleary, will come to the broadcast side, and now Buslinger.
Buslinger now pushing through the wing, having a few bounces. Heading in towards forward 50 now. Artie Jones at the back's going to fly. But that was taken there from Hall. A little bit sore after that one, just rubbing the back.
Now you got a knee from Artie.
Just having a look now, taking the air out of the game. Going to come to the close side wing with the Toyota logo. Everyone underneath. That's going to be taken there through Keith. Garcia, 45, great grab. Going to turn now. The Doggies have slowed their pace down a little bit as well. Ryan Garcia on 60 watch today, Joe.
He's almost there.
Forward entry now. Not going anywhere there. That's taken by Essendon.
Taken by Gray. On the last line of defence. Oh, that kick no good. No good at all from Campbell Gray. And Lockie McNeil, whose radar hasn't quite been on today, Tyrone. Just the 3 behinds for Lockie.
Well, if there was ever a time to get yourself on the board, it's now.
Maybe make it very tough for the Dons. Campbell Gray, a moment he'd rather forget. Lockie McNeil, a chance to right a couple of wrongs from that third term. To the Burke Street end of Marvel Stadium. Puts it on its way. The umpire just stands back a little and watches it sail over his hat. Footscray push out to a 33-point lead, 13-15, 93.
That's a little bit what we were talking about there. Essendon had the spare man back, take the big grab, and just that little bit of skill error, you know. You make that kick, all of a sudden your rebound work's been good, you can get on your run.
It's been a very similar story over the last 12 months watching the Bombers. Once the fatigue also hits these players, those little decisions that they make as to where the next kick's going to go, and then obviously executing the skill that we just saw is not fully there. But they hold a 33-point lead, Footscray, and if Essendon's not careful, they might blow this one wide open.
We're back in the centre circle now. Ball touching down on the Coles logo. Bryan hitting now, but no Essendon player there. Garcia now through Harms. Kick goes forward towards Poulter. Poulter sits underneath, doesn't quite get there. Now going to be mopped up. Big wrap there by Caleb Poulter. Umpire's going to call high and doesn't want to let him go after the play. Now pushing off is Roberts. Left foot deep towards Wiedemann. Bounce off. Great wrap here. Essendon just slowly getting themselves over the forward. Can they get the ball forward? Ryan Garcia shows the quick feet. Doggies now on the rebound. Poulter on the near side wing. What's he going to do from here? Decides to take his time. Let the Doggies get set.
Stops and props. He'll probably keep it on this broadcast wing. In the end, he picked out Lewis Hayes as if he was the forward, easily accounting for Artie Jones. into the corridor. So Hayes wants to bite off a little bit more for the Bombers. Jackson Haitley thrown into the turf by James Harms. He's got some choice words standing the mark. Haitley looking for some movement up ahead. He'll go in the caddy direction. Nate presents, didn't take the mark. Vicentini did the roving, then just handballed to space. Keith, although the fumble opened the door for Foley to give the short ball to Tex Wanganeen. About a kick and a half out from goal. And chisel it into the pocket, looking for Wiedemann. Just came off the boot of Cleary. Stayed inside the field of play before rolling over the line. So, can they get a goal from this forward 50 stoppage, Tyrone?
I believe they can. I think the Essendon midfielders were really good earlier. It's just, can they find that goal again? Can they find their structure? Can they work for each other? The talent's there. They just have to find a way. Boundary umpire now taking his time. He's going to bring this one in towards Ryan. Gets the tap down. First received by the Doggies. Garcia with the hands off now. Daniel smothered there by Davey. Wanganeen on the pickup. Can Essendon make the most of their opportunity here? And it looks like we just might get a stoppage here. Inside 50, Joe. Getting closer and closer.
They're dangerous, aren't they? Davey, Tex. Now there's been a free kick found here, Tyrone.
I think that's Paris in the boundary side. Going to line up the left foot now. Jack and Paris, can he get their first goal opportunity here in the fourth quarter? Swings around, left foot is off. Hits the post there, Joe. So unlucky by Essendon. They finally edged themselves forward, got themselves an opportunity, just couldn't convert there.
Minor score, so Caleb Daniel brings the footy back in. A short ball for Cleary. Chisels it up the line to McNeil, who has been busy despite the radar not quite being there. Caleb Daniel ran past for the handball receive, and a wonderful, well-weighted ball for Craig Peters. Spicer stood underneath it, roved his own crumb into the pocket for Jones, slipped through the fingertips. He's still there, is Artie Jones. He wants to keep it in. He handles to the top of the square. Bianco out of the air! And Trent goes whack! And the Dogs have got their 14th.
Wow, what a goal there. I was going to say the maturity from Phoenix Spicer in the kick. Hardy not holding the grab. But then with the soccer assist, I think he's crossed it with the handball on the deck. Trent Bianco coming through to clean that one up like he's Sam Kerr. What a goal.
The small forwards of the Dogs, they're in sync, Tyrone. They just know where each other is going to be. And Trent Bianco, of course, was part of the state game last week. Knew where he was going.
What would the great Joe say? He'd say that's a Smithy's goal.
That's a Smithy snag, that is.
Snag,
a Smithy snag. Early contender for the top 5. Obviously, there's still 8 games to go this weekend. So plenty of time for someone else to top that. But early going, Tyrone, that's the best of the lot.
Well, I know you don't hand them out, but that's got to be a contender.
I'll have a word to my team at Smithies and see what they can come back with.
Bounces up now. First tap down by Essendon. Doggies now coming out through the back of the contest, but Davey or Paris comes up with the pressure. Wide now through Poulter. Jones has the short lead but doesn't use it. Can Essendon find an intercept here? Doesn't quite get taken. Now here comes Arthur Jones on the near side. Can he find an option from 55 out? He slips over. Must be a bit wet out there. Essendon now going to come back out through their rebound 50, been really good. Paris gets the boot off towards the near side. 3-on-3 here. What can they do? Caddy underneath it. Getting over the top now is Cleary with the kick to Daniel. Caleb Daniel, first VFL game in 7 years. Now finds it at the back through Keith. Keith assessing his options, taking it nice and easy, puts the step on, gets it off. Now we're going to come back through Daniel on the near side. Quick kick off. Willoughby turns. Wiedemann just manning the mark here. What can he find? Quick 45, not 15, called the umpire. Over to Daniel. What can Daniel do here? Gets the quick chip off at the back. Cleary now coming through. Hunt left foot. Oh, I think that was smart coming over late. Couldn't quite get there though, Joe.
Tried his best, and so into the centre square go the Dogs. Craig Peters will chisel it inside 50, and Harms. Brilliant presenting
He's been really impressive today, Cooper Craig Peters. He's a young guy who's had to come through the NGAs and through the VFL. Came through the Footscray Cubs program as well. Didn't play in that game because he chose to play for Footscray, but did make it. So he's taken the long road to the VFL, and he's impressing it today.
That kick was absolutely sublime, and now it's James Harms, who's had a terrific second half, it must be said. He's kicked a goal. There's a chance to double that. Give the Dogs the ton on its way near side. It's the one area, if you're to be overly critical of this performance from Footscray, is the behinds. 14-16, 100, 9-7, 61. As it's McKay bringing the footy back in. Was Davey pushed in the back? In fact, it's Paris, he was. So he'll receive the free kick on his halfback flank.
Paris now turning 45, quickly short to McKay. McKay handball back, Paris putting on the Jets, another chip kick, slowly getting ground now. Essendon on the far side wing, what do they want? Looks like they're going to try go deep in the forward 50, big fly there, doesn't quite get under it. Garcia rebound, fakes the handball. Daniel now pushing forward. He's got Benedetto at the back, Spicer got space here, finds the room, has the route. And now he's finally going to get his opportunity to have a set shot.
Go back from here, young Phoenix, and kick the goal. He's had a pretty good outing, Tyrone. We spoke about him throughout the first quarter and a half, about some of the skills that he shows. And I mean, we're up here asking him to show us more of that throughout the game because his skills are unreal. He had a hand in that last goal to Trent Bianco. He had a hand earlier on in a couple of others, and now he deserves to kick one himself.
Phoenix Spicer now trotting in. The kick is off. Will the goal umpire move? No, he won't. And that's going to be a goal to Phoenix Spicer. The SA boy increasing the margin here in the fourth quarter. Looking very rough for Essendon, but Phoenix Spicer has been so impressive recently. And I keep using the word maturity, but he is a very fast person, but he's found a way to slow himself down, look at the decisions, make the right decision, and he gets rewarded for it there.
Is he one of those players, Tyrone, where everything moves quicker than...
Yes.
the mind's going quicker than the body sometimes?
Very early in his career, for sure. He had the legs, he'd tick him over, and you can see it sometimes. He just wanted to go forward, but to being able to turn the shoulder and now, find people in the foreline, it's a tool that he's added to his kit.
He's been very impressive. So the Dogs, since half-time, have kicked the 8-7. The Bombers, just the one goal after they held a 1-point lead at the main break. It's been all Footscray in this second half. Brian gets over the top. James Harms first to gather it in. He's pushed off it by Jack Paris. He managed to stand up with the Sharon in hand. He's handballed to space on as far as Poulter. Paris followed up the wayward handball, but Daniel picked out Harms. A short ball to Craig Peters. Back to Harms. Over to Wargle. So Daniel at the interchange gates. Sends it inside 50. Luau was pushed off it by Clark. On the ground is Bianco. And he was taken high, was Trent. So he'll get the free kick. 12 minutes into the final turn. Trent Bianco may fancy his chances. Be something.
He slowly worked his way into the game. Trent Bianco was a bit quiet to start. Does he have the roost after the state game?
Oh, he's a great Collingwood man, Trent Bianco, and if he's anything like Steel Sidebottom and Jordan to go from the grand final, you'd say he's got the journey. He'll give it the big wind-up from right on the paint. Bianco puts it on its way. Watch it sail. Watch it go through. Finger in the air. Another one to the Dogs.
Trent Bianco sank at second for the day.
Well, he kicked one from right on the goal line. Now he's got one from outside 50. A nice pair in the final term for the man in the number 58. 16-16, 112 to 9-7, 61. Had a very good day, particularly this second half, Trent Bianco at the office.
Well, a young guy who, unfortunately, was there for Collingwood's grand final to be delisted, and another young player who's looking for another opportunity through the mid-season, and he's putting together a pretty decent case to start his early year. But Footscray, they've sort of built a little bit of a reputation for that recently, have they? Getting players in and building them up for that mid-season sort of selection.
They certainly have. Obviously, Trent having the state game next to his name, a couple of goals tonight, the way he started this season. I mean, we're only 8-9 weeks away from the mid-season draft, and his name could be up there.
Tap down now, that's going to be a high. Essendon will be fin there. Swings now. Kick is off, going deep into the forward 50. Can they find an option? Now goes to the decks. Phoenix Spicer lurking. Going to be handballed now through Bedendo. Essendon come out now. Luwal getting on, but Artie Jones is going to intercept. Gets hit there by Luwal. Game's going to keep playing. Phoenix Spicer keeping the ball. That's now going to go out of bounds. Big hit there from Lamont Luwal and Artie Jones in that forward 50. Goal umpire now going to throw this one over his head. There were a few choice words there. I think I could hear him from here. Brian's been dominating the hitouts today. Can he get to this one? First tap down. Quick kick there from Tom Toma. I finally get to say it. Drew Hall coming out now. Near side. Smart. Couldn't get to it. Daniel swivels. Kick off by Buslinger. Quick 45. Riley Garcia. Now up to 33 disposals. Poulter left foot streaming towards. And that one's just going to go on the boundary there.
So he's up to how many, Tyrone, Riley Garcia?
33 disposals and 1 goal. So he has 27 to get in about 10, 15 minutes, I reckon.
Well, he might fall short of the 60, but is he leading all comers on the ground?
He is. Make that 34 disposals.
Well, there you go. That's pretty handy by me. You just call me the Oracle if you like. Will Hawes made an absolute meal of this. They keep it in. Does Clark. Haw paddled it towards Foley. And the Dogs end up willing it over the line. They'll lock this up.
Yeah, what a 3 weeks by Riley Garcia. 40 plus disposals, 30 plus disposals, and now 34 disposals again, and a goal.
A handy start to season 2024, but as we talked about, he's got to bust through Trelaw, Bontempelli, Liberatore, Jackson McRae. It's a tough midfield to get into.
Some pretty good players there.
So about to be thrown back in, but the way Bevo's going this year, don't discount seeing Garcia playing at AFL level. There's been a whistle and a free kick's been found against Vicentini, who can't believe it. And it's going to be Jordan Croft, the father-son recruit, to have a shot at goal. Kick the 2 behinds this evening is Crofty. Looking at his first goal. He grew up barracking for the Dogs. Made his senior debut in the colours 2 weeks ago. Here he is at Marvel Stadium, kicking an absolute shocker that he won't ever want to watch back again. Out of bounds on the full, Tyrone.
16-16, 1-12 for Footscray. That's a lot of behinds right there.
And a couple out of bounds on the full as well.
Oh, 9-7-61 Essendon into the 16th minute here at Marvel Stadium as we're coming on the near side here. Great grab there by Vicentini. Standing tall amongst the trees. Takes his time to decide though. 1 step. Kick long now towards Caddy. Oh, great work there by Nate Caddy to get forward. Swinging onto his right foot and sees something that he likes. Umpire's whistle is going though.
Yeah, it was a 50-metre penalty, so I think Buslinger may have moved on the mark. It's a very short 50 metres.
Oh,
Nate Caddy took that, or maybe it's a free kick downfield. Okay, that might be why.
That makes more sense.
Yep.
Now coming through Vicentini, assessing his options. Sees the short lead there in the pocket. Kenihan, no. But front and centre is Haitley. Gets the kick off. Straight through the middle there. What a goal by Campbell Gray. Fresh off the contest from Jackson Haitley. Essendon finally strike back. 10-7, 67, 16-16, 1-12 for Footscray as we hit the 17th minute mark in the 4th quarter, Joe.
Just their second goal for the second half. But Campbell Gray, who haven't seen a lot of in 2024 just yet. He's been playing in the back line, worked his way forward. And on the end of a great handball from Jackson Haitley, another one who started this game really well. Kicked 3 goals in the first half, had plenty of the footy. Yeah. Well held.
Unfortunately, it's been the story for Essendon. They started, like I said, it's been a tale of 2 halves. They looked like a completely different side in the first half. We were really excited to see their play, but the fatigue set in, maybe a bit of mental block as well. They just slowly need to claw their way back into this game. Just win this quarter. You just need to win this quarter.
It's been a common theme already in the 3 games we've seen for the Bombers. We'll have to have that one redone in the middle of the ground.
That one was, that was a
no
shocker,
good.
that one.
Just throw this one up.
What's the opposite of a Smithy snag?
The Smithy shocker.
That's a good gear.
So back into the centre square, Jackson Haitley tried to paddle it to his captain Xavier O'Neill, was pushed off by Gardner but managed to win it on the deck, although the Dogs have turned the footy over. Now it's Big Brian throwing Gardner into the turf. The umpire will ask for the ball. Nice crowd in. So all building up towards 7:40. The 30th EJ Whitten game between the Bombers and the Western Bulldogs. The Dogs have won 9 of the last 10 encounters against Essendon. That's at AFL level. Here at VFL, Footscray are looking to record their 3rd win against the Bombers in a row. Fraser goes short to Orgel, gets it back, and inside 50 with the kick in the direction of Croft. Couldn't take it, but Dendo wants to keep it in. Ran out of real estate as it goes over the line. Nearing time on, 16-16, 112 to 10-7, 67. Artie Jones has kicked 3 goals. Sam Willoughby and Trent Bianco have kicked 2 apiece. Jackson Haitley's kicked 3 for the Bombers, and Oscar Smart has kicked 2. That'll be thrown back in. Gardner will do the ruck work with Brian. Wrestling for positions. Roberts on the non-preferred. It's partially smothered. Brian grabbed it. Gray left it behind. His harm's been one of the best today. Off to McNeil, running backwards to go forwards. He'll get to Phoenix Spicer, who'll chisel it into the pocket, and Orgel, who kicked the goal from right here on half-time. Why wouldn't you go back and do the same thing again? Just to add another Smithy snag to the highlight reel for the standing captain tonight, Tyrone. Why wouldn't he?
Wants to add another one to it. Now, the State of Play podcast.
Yes.
Did you mention that Footscray might be a contender this year?
I will on Tuesday. No question about that. I'm watching Daniel Orgel in the number 50. Put it on its way. It's starting to work back. It may not go the journey. It's right on the line. Gray got a hand to it. Just as I see Daniel Orgel in that number 50, I'm reminded that tonight is Stuart Edge's 50th game in charge of the Footscray Footy Club. A terrific record. This will be his 34th win in charge of Footscray since taking over in 2021.
Coming out through Foley, that's going to be touched. Handball out, the skipper, get back onto it, big boot inside. Can he find someone?
Look how many there
Doggies have numbers, who wants the ball? Snag off there. Another behind, Footscray with their 18th behind of the day. Plenty of options around the football.
Just Lockie McNeil again, Tyrone. That radar must be broken.
Oh yeah, he's had a rough day. But, hey, opportunity. I'd rather kick 7 behinds and not touch the ball 7 times. So, here comes Foley now, coming out of full-back. Kick is off to the near side. Caddy tried to fly, didn't quite get his hands on it, though. Umpire says that one was touched going out. Davey just shaking his head.
Is he a bit lucky there? The unrealistic attempt, maybe?
Well, he definitely flew and didn't get anywhere near the footy, so the umpires let that one go as the boundary umpire coming back in towards Brian and Gardner. Brian tapped down, but Doggies get the advantage. The skipper putting his head over the footy. Davey on top. Coming back out now through O'Neill. O'Neill left foot kick. Is it to anyone? Essendon able to gain some ground through Caddy, smothering that one over the line.
They'd be very impressed, I reckon, the Bombers fans who have tuned in throughout this contest to see Nate Caddy present at the footy. A couple of 1%ers getting fist to it, making a contest if he knows he can't mark the ball. He kicked 1 goal too. I dare say there is an opportunity for him to make his way into the senior front 6 in the not too distant future. Here's Tom Thomas going in the direction of Caddy. He's got 2 on 1. Was he pushed aside? He was. So a free kick for Nate. He has the chance to kick his 2nd. This would be a nice little return for him from an individual standpoint, given how far back the Bombers are.
Nate Caddy has been really impressive today, as you mentioned. He shouldn't be too far off a senior chance.
So the boy from Parade doesn't hit it well at all. That might be the reason he's staying out of the team. Buzzling up, gave the handball off, and Bianco, who's kicked 2 goals himself in this last term, thumps it out of the danger zone, but Foley takes the intercept mark. Not much presenting in front of Nat Foley. He wants something, but there's nothing. He just thumps it into the pocket. It's one for the high flyers. They couldn't take the mark. Here's Caddy on the deck. Broke through a couple of tackles. The hammer went over his head. Smart's lurking, as is Davey. His handball towards Caddy was pushed aside. O'Neill had a crack. It's a touch scrappy, it's a touch fumbly. Caddy's on the deck, wrapped up by Daniel. The umpire crosses the arms and he asks for the ball.
Just a bit flat-footed there from the Essendon forwards. Foley waited. Normally they come early or late, but it didn't come at all there as the umpire tosses the ball up. Brian gets the first touchdown, though. Kick is off here. That might have been Oscar Smart. Right foot inside out through the big sticks, and that's a win for Essendon there.
Might be a Smithy snag for you, Tyrone.
Oh, it's either a behind or the best goal I've ever seen. There's no in between at the moment, is there?
He just kicked that out of mid-air, did Oscar Smart. And as I said in the third term, I like the cut of his jib, this young boy. Saw him play, make his debut as the 23rd man against the Brisbane Lions in round 1. And he had a couple of nice flashy moments. He did a couple of really good things as a small forward. Got to the right spots, and there it is, right on display. He kicks his 3rd goal. Again, from an individual standpoint, he's had a pretty good night. It's just a matter of them putting it together for 4 quarters, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest downside that I've seen from Essendon today is just their running in defence. The rebounding offence was fine. Everyone wants to get streaming forward in offence, but just getting back to cover the players, as the umpire has had some choice words here with the rucks. Ball is up now. Brian and Croft fly. O'Neill gets his head over the footy. Back out now through Scott. Scott gets the kick off. Hit there late by the doggies. What's the umpire going to call? Decides to play the mark there for Eckersley. Eckersley goes in short. I think that one's going to be taken by Oscar Smart again. He's just kicked a snag. And he's going to line up for another one.
This is why you keep kids on the ground. That's exactly why.
You hate this one. You always bring it up every game.
Well, it's my greatest bugbear in Australian rules football. You name me a player, Tyrone, in 150 years that's ever kicked a goal from the interchange bench. I've never seen it happen. But when you leave them on the ground after they've kicked a goal, the adrenaline's pumping. This is their moment. And now he's got a chance to kick 2 in 60 seconds.
Oscar Smart lining up now. Good quick step. Kick is off. Goal umpire doesn't move. Maybe moves their neck backwards, and that's going to be a 4th goal for Oscar Smart, the 23rd man for Essendon today. Impressing not only us, but everyone here at Marvel Stadium as they begin to flood in for the senior footy later today.
You know, just watching beneath us, Jared Eckersley going from the ground with, hopefully that's just a really severe cramp in the hamstring. He can't quite move at the moment. He's managed to get from the ground. And Oscar Smart, I mean, we were just talking about him off the back of his 3rd goal. He's now got a 4th one to his name. He's having a nice little debut season with the Bombers.
Well, he's leading all goal scorers now with 4, and with AFL, if you can impress as a small forward, you can impress anywhere. So, awesome game for Oscar Smart today.
So we're back into the centre square, 16-18, 114 the Footscray. They will win this game, 12-7, 79 the Bombers. Brian down to O'Neill, tried to get to Paris. He's got some space to go back and reel in the Sharon. Tom Thomas had the pocket picked by Daniel Orgel, who was thrown into the ground by Brian. And the big ruckman. It's been an impressive few minutes for Essendon just to wrestle back some of the momentum and finish off the game with some pride. This little ball to Scott near the centre circles was good. But to the outer side of the ground, he thumps the Sharon. And Haitley picks out McKay. Can they get another one to impress the army that's already inside Marvel Stadium? Tom Thomas thought about going backwards from the pocket to the top of the goal square. Davies in the right spot. Caddy went back with a flight. And Orgel fisted through for a minor score.
Just on Nick Bryan, he's up to 38 hitouts now for the day. Average is 34. Well over that.
It's a good return from your ruckman. I reckon if you just get it down to your midfielders, more of a chance obviously then head forward at first opportunity.
We're going to come out now through Caleb Daniel. He's been busy today. Davey just cramping on the mark there. Just making sure he gets his stretch in while manning that mark on Caleb Daniel. Coming now, finds Garcia. Turns first. Poulter. Doggies have legs here. Kick is off. 2-on-1. But that's going to be a big spoil there from Campbell Gray to kill this ball. And the boundary umpire is going to bring it in on the near side.
So just beneath us, this game. Only a couple of minutes remaining. Footscray hold a 34-point lead over the Bombers. They trailed by a point at half-time and have put the foot down in the third and fourth terms. Here's Big Crofty trying to get it over Tom Tomer, who was awake to it on the mark. James Harms has run out of room. We'll have this one thrown in the same spot.
I think that might have been out a bit earlier as well.
I reckon he might have started to make his way into the stand there, James Harms. So,
different mob.
About to be thrown back in. 34 points the margin, 27 points it was at three-quarter time. Croft down to the front, Harms got a boot to it. Willoughby just handballed to space. O'Neill sweeps the handball to Scott. Run himself into trouble with Clark. Managed to get a handball away. Falls to Willoughby. Off to Daniel, who's going backwards with the handball to Trepienko. Whose kick is a good one to Willoughby. Not far enough. Sam sends it to the top of the square with a kick, and the mark's being taken by Wiedemann. And the umpire will call a mark taken.
You've got an excuse.
Now we're going to come out.
Our mob haven't.
Through Haley.
That guy we got, he said he's had a full year pre-training and all this type of stuff. Turn up last week. We're lucky to beat St Kilda.
O'Neill now off half back. Has a quick stretch. Cramping a little bit. Plays the far side wing now. Great kick there. As Essendon are looking to build a case here for their fourth quarter. Just over the top there. That's going to be taken by Bussinger, who's going to slow this one right down as Footscray are going to ease their way out through this fourth quarter. Playing it back now to Keith. Keith sees Poulter. Chip into their own inside 50. Sees Freya, who has Spicer short if he wants to take it. Now decides to use it. O'Neill going to man his mark coming from the far side. Phoenix Spicer assessing his options. In the fluoro red boots, decides to play it down the line, but the kick is not great there. That's going to be taken by Mackay, who finds inside. Daniel closing in quick though. Able to get up there.
That signals the end of the contest. Tyrone with the Scray winning by 34 points.